At least 18 people killed in a coal mine blast in India's Meghalaya. 2 Nepalese among the deceased. EC to monitor media ahead of March 5 polls. Volunteers to be deployed for voter education in all wards across Nepal. Proposal to withdraw social media bill tabled at the National Assembly. Endorses National Forensic Science Laboratory Bill 2081. At least 30 killed in blast at a mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Dozens injured as rescue teams rush victims to hospitals. US and Iran hold talks in Oman to avert escalation. Discussions focus on nuclear program amid regional tensions. And ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 to begin tomorrow. Pakistan to face off the Netherlands in the opener in Sri Lanka. Good evening, I am Irpilagi Singh Lama and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in details. 2 Nepalese from Barapokhari rural municipality of Khotang district in eastern Nepal are among those killed in a coal mine explosion in Umsan Ghat, East Jaintia Hills, Meghalaya, India on Thursday. The deceased are 27-year-old Purna Bahadur Khapangi Magar and 24-year-old Surendra Khapangi Magar. 4 others from Khotang were seriously injured while a 7th worker survived. The mine, reportedly illegally operated, used rat hole mining, a dangerous method involving dynamites to break narrow tunnels through which workers crouched to extract coal. The explosion occurred around 11 local time and rescue operations are ongoing with some workers still feared trapped. The accident is part of a larger blast at the mine which has killed at least 18 people according to police reports. The mine is located in a forested area 72 kilometers from the state capital Shillong. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced financial aid of 200,000 rupees, which is around $2,215 for each deceased and 50,000 rupees for each injured. The death toll in a tragic accident of a bus carrying wedding attendees in Baitadi has jumped to 13. 8 among them died on the spot and 5 others breathed their last at Dadildhura Hospital. The Bajang-bound bus from Purchadi Municipality 7 Bhawani of Baitadi had met with the accident at Purchadi 7 Baggaon mode on Thursday. 34 others injured in the accident are being treated in Dadildhura, Thangka and Bajang. The bride and groom, however, were not on board the bus. Moving on, Nepal's acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandari has urged the media to publish and disseminate fair news without being biased while making news related to election of the House of Representatives. The HOR election is scheduled for March 5. Talking to media persons at Janak Education Material Center Limited, Sanutimi, he requested not to produce and disseminate news and opinion in a biased manner and one-sided. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Bhandari asked not to take side or oppose any candidate and party while disseminating news at a time when election environment has been created and it is approaching nearer, requesting journalists to disseminate news and content based on truth and fact. Sharing that the Election Commission has forwarded investigation on the issues of violation of Election Code of Conduct and action against those violating it. He opined that monitoring was underway from every corner about the implementation situation of Election Code of Conduct. Bhandari underlined that the EC has been making election preparation in a speedy manner. The Election Commission, EC, is to depute volunteers in all wards across the country for voter education. The election to the House of Representatives is taking place across the country on March 5. According to the EC, volunteers are going to be deputed in all 6,000 6,743 wards of the country through the district election offices. Assistant spokesperson of EC, Kulbahadur GC, said experienced child development facilitators, women health volunteers and community service center operators would be appointed for voter education. Now, the process for appointing volunteers has begun. He added the EC has already approved the voter education related program on February 2nd for this purpose. Preparation has been made to impart orientation on February 15 in all 7 provinces by appointing volunteers for voter education. The volunteers would be deputed in all 6,743 wards of 753 local levels from mid-February, added EC. Now, a proposal to withdraw the Social Media Bill 2081 has been tabled in the National Assembly. During Wednesday's meeting, Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Anil Kumar Sinha, on behalf of Prime Minister and Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Sushila Karki, presented the proposal to withdraw the bill. National Assembly Chair Narayan Prasad Dahal directed the Legislation Management Committee to submit its report on the bill, which is currently under consideration by the committee. The cabinet meeting held on Tuesday had approved the decision to withdraw the bill from the federal parliament. The bill was registered during the 17th session of the National Assembly and will be withdrawn after completion of parliamentary procedures, according to the Federal Parliament Secretariat. Meanwhile, the National Assembly unanimously passed the National Forensic Science Laboratory Establishment and Operation Bill 2081. More news coming up. Let's take a short break for now. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back. Nepal government has kicked off vaccination campaign for girls. The human papillomavirus HPV vaccine is being administered nationwide to young girls. The campaign started from February 4th, marking the World Cancer Day. In Palpa, the campaign aims to benefit approximately 2,043 girls across 196 community schools and 31 private schools. Under the federal government's initiative, preparations have been finalized to reach grade 6 students across all 10 local levels of the district and out-of-school girls who are 10 years of age. To ensure the smooth execution of the drive, the district has deployed 454 vaccinators and 227 volunteers. Health posts will serve as designated vaccination centers to accommodate girls who are not currently enrolled in school. Chief of the District Coordination Committee, Palpa, Thangka Khanal, emphasized that the success of this program relies on the collective initiative of all stakeholders. He stressed that schools and municipal level health branches must play a proactive role in making the campaign effective. In Koshi province, the drive aims to reach 51,000 girls, while specific districts like Udaipur and Palpa have mobilized hundreds of health workers to vaccinate thousands more across schools and local health posts. In Thangka, the campaign even includes a catch-up program for older students in grades 7 to 10 who missed their doses last year. Cervical cancer remains one of the leading causes of death among women in Nepal, but it is preventable. By providing this life-saving vaccine for free, the government, health officials and local volunteers are working together to ensure a healthier, cancer-free future for the next generation. Now, beyond Janakpur Dham's progress, the Musahar settlement of Basaiya sees only campaign dust. In this Dalit community, elections are a hollow ritual. Candidates arrive with grand promises and vanish in clouds of exhaust, leaving behind unfinished homes and unmet needs. Our colleague Sarah Sapsanamarai reports with district correspondent Sanjay Kumar Shah.
A little away from the busy core of Janakpur Dham sub-metropolitan city, beyond the crowded roads and concrete structures, lies Basaiya, ward number 24 of the sub-metropolis in southern Nepal. But here the city's progress feels distant. In the Musahar settlement, political leaders have been frequent visitors these days. They come right to people's doorsteps, not with solutions, but with promises. Assurances are offered, hands are shaken, and then the vehicles leave. Yet, the daily struggle here remains unchanged, finding work, arranging food, and somehow surviving another day. In this Dalit settlement, even the houses built under the People's Housing Program have become symbols of neglect, structures started but never completed, standing as reminders of unfinished commitments.
नहीं दुआर है नहीं घर पर खर जुड़ रही है नहीं कथु जुड़ रही है नहीं लाइन के अवस्था नहीं घर के अवस्था नहीं सड़क के अवस्था कथु के है अवस्था हमरा सके गरीब के कथु के अवस्था न.
Every day, candidates are arriving in vehicles without asking about disease, hunger or grief. They ask for votes and then drive away. Whenever the election comes, only then do the candidates remember these problems. But the locals express their sorrow that the candidates who went away, giving assurances to solve their problems, never returned. For the Musahar community, the demands are basic: a secure livelihood and a roof to live under. Nothing more. Yet even these fundamental needs remain unmet. The candidates, too, seem to have no concrete plans for them. Housing promises in this settlement are not new. They date back to the last election, and even children from the community can recall them. But the reality remains the same. Families continue to live in unsafe huts, vulnerable to harsh weather and constant uncertainty. For the residents, the hardest truth is that their problems rarely enter the priorities of those seeking votes.
Nepal is to approach UNESCO to list Yomari, a traditional indigenous and cultural food of the Newar community, under the intangible cultural heritage category. Discussions on advancing the listing process were held between officials of the Heritage and Tourism Committee of Kathmandu Metropolitan City and representatives of the community. Committee coordinator Ashaman Sangat said the initiative aims to nationalize and internationalize the cultural significance of Yomari, which is closely associated with auspicious occasions. The tradition of making Yomari is not limited to cuisine, but is deeply connected with nature, agriculture, religious practices, cultural values, and social life, contributing to the integrated development of heritage. The Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage was adopted in 2003, and Nepal became its state party in 2010. BRISTI, an atmospheric water harvesting system, is drawing attention at the National Civil Engineering exhibition underway at the Institute of Engineering, Pulchok. The student-developed project aims to provide a year-round sustainable water supply, particularly for Nepal's dry and high-altitude regions. The three-day exhibition held under the theme Building with Vision, Integrating Youth Innovation and Sustainability for a Resilient Nepal showcases technology-driven solutions focused on infrastructure, energy, and sustainability. Organizers say the exhibition promotes innovation and entrepreneurial thinking among engineering students. However, participants cite challenges such as limited research funding, lack of resources, and weak industry exposure. International updates coming up next. Let's take a short break for now. At least 30 people have been killed and dozens wounded after a blast at a Shia mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, according to the local officials. The blast at the Shite Mosque in the Tharlai area of the city prompted an emergency to be declared at 3 hospitals in the city, with officials giving figures for the injured ranging between 80 and more than 100. In a statement, Islamabad administration said 169 people were transferred to hospital after rescue teams reached the site of the explosion. The cause of the blast was not immediately clear. However, reports have suggested it was carried out by a suicide bomber. Now, the United States and Iran held talks in Oman on Friday, seen as a critical effort to prevent further escalation between the long-time rivals amid heightened tensions in the Middle East. The discussions mediated by Oman come after U.S. President Donald Trump warned of possible military action and amid the presence of a U.S. naval group, including an aircraft carrier in regional waters. The talks are being led by U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, accompanied by Jared Kushner and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Iranian state media said the negotiations are indirect, with both sides meeting separately with Oman's Foreign Minister Hamad al-Busaidi. Iran has said the discussions will focus solely on its nuclear program, while the United States is seeking to address Iran's ballistic missile program and its support for regional armed groups. The talks mark the first such engagements since the United States joined Israel's conflict with Iran in June, with strikes on nuclear facilities. Australia and Indonesia signed a security treaty on Friday, paving the way for closer cooperation and new military training facilities in Southeast Asia's largest economy. The pact will facilitate defense initiatives that include embedding a senior Indonesian officer within Australia's defense force, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said in a joint statement after the signing in Jakarta. Canberra has been seeking to bolster its military power in the Asia-Pacific region to counter China's growing influence, while Indonesia has proven more cautious about Beijing, which is its biggest trading partner. Albanese hailed the agreement as a historic moment in their nation relationship.
Today we have signed the Treaty of Jakarta 2026. The treaty reflects the close friendship, partnership and deep trust between our two nations under our comprehensive strategic partnership. It builds on a history of defence cooperation dating back 3 decades to the Keating and Suharto governments, which was signed back in December 1995.
The treaty builds on the 2024 Defence Pact, which pledged closer cooperation in the contested Asia-Pacific region. Time for a short break. Stay tuned. Canada and France plan to open diplomatic consulates Friday in the capital of Greenland, showing support for NATO ally Denmark and the Arctic island in the wake of U.S. efforts to secure control of the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand was travelling to Nuuk to inaugurate the consulate that officials say also could help boost cooperation on issues like climate change and Inuit rights. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Poirier said would take up his duties as Consul General, making it the first European Union country to establish a Consulate General in Greenland. According to the ministry, he will be tasked with working to deepen existing cooperation projects with Greenland in the cultural, scientific and economic fields, while also strengthening political ties with the local authorities. Canada pledged to open a consulate in Greenland in 2024 before Trump's recent talk of a takeover, and the former inauguration was delayed from November because of bad weather. Now, Lebanon and Syria will sign a deal next week on the handover of some 300 Syrian convicts in Lebanese jails, Deputy Prime Minister Tarek Mithila told AFP on Saturday. Beirut and Damascus have sought to reset ties since Syria's new Islamist authorities took power in late 2024, but the issues of Syrian inmates in Lebanese prisons has been a key sticking point. The deal, which the cabinet approved on Friday, will cover around 300 Syrians convicted of crimes in Lebanon and who have served 10 or more years behind bars. Syria's Justice or Foreign Minister is expected to ink the deal, which will be signed in Beirut next week. Time for sports update. The 10th edition of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup opens tomorrow. The 30-day tournament will feature 55 matches across 8 venues in India and Sri Lanka. The opening match will be played in Colombo, Sri Lanka, where Pakistan faces the Netherlands at the Sinhalese Sports Club cricket ground. The final is scheduled for March 8 at the Narendra Modi Stadium in India. The T20 format, played with 20 overs per side, is known for its fast pace, power hitting and rapid momentum shifts, with matches lasting around 3 to 4 hours. Pakistan, champions in 2009, has requested that all its matches be played in Sri Lanka, citing security concerns. The move follows earlier ICC arrangements involving neutral venues. Nepal will begin its campaign on Sunday, February 8th, against England. Other host cities include New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata and Kandy in Sri Lanka. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a look at the headlines once again. At least 18 people killed in a coal mine blast in India's Meghalaya. 2 Nepalese among the deceased. EC to monitor media ahead of March 5 polls. Volunteers to be deployed for voter education in all wards across Nepal. Proposal to withdraw social media bill tabled at the National Assembly endorses National Forensic Science Laboratory Bill 2081. At least 30 killed in blast at a mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Dozens injured as rescue teams rush victims to hospitals. US and Iran hold talks in Oman to avert escalation. Discussions focus on nuclear program amid regional tensions. And ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 to begin tomorrow. Pakistan to face off the Netherlands in the opener in Sri Lanka. That is all for the moment here on NTV World Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website www.nepaltelevision.com. I am April Singh Lama. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it.
NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
What is the power of music that political narratives don't?
The real music comes between the notes. It's the silence. I don't think you can change the country. It's not a... I think it's good to start with your own home, you know, your own room. Can you do some changes in your own room? So I'm working in my own room.
Fixing your internet.
So you can play the same note. For example, just give you a little bit of an example, Sudan, of this. Sounds very Nepali.
Right.
And it could be on the mountain. But if I say... That's
That's the signature Manoj Newana. Let's talk about the Grammy moment. What was it like?
Oh my God. Well, you know, it was 2020. It was blessings. I've been very blessed to also to collaborate with some Westerner musicians. One of them was Deva Pramal and Mithila. They were, you know, Mithila and Deva, they were very inspired by Eastern philosophy. Also, actually, they were very inspired by Osho's world. And through that, they got to learn a lot about the mantras and the beauty of what our music can bring to the people. And I went to Los Angeles to be there with 10,000 people in the Staple Arena. It was amazing. I wore a Nepali dress and put instead of kukri, I put my bansuri. Wow. It was proudly. I felt like, oh great, thank you.
Inside the quiet courtyard of Baber Mahal, colors seem to breathe on their own. This is Siddharth Art Gallery, home to some of Nepal's most defining contemporary art movements. Today, the gallery opens its doors to Mithila Cosmos, a universe imagined through the brush of artist S.C. Suman, a name inseparable from the evolution of gallery space.
म आफ्नो बच्चैदेखि हजुरआमालाई हेर्दै थिएँ यो भित्तामा उहाँ कोर्नुहुन्थ्यो अब भित्तामा कोर्दै जाँदाखेरि उहाँलाई हेर्दै आएँ र त्यसपछि म बालकालदेखि नै स्कुल जाँदा अनि फुलहरू हेर्दा मलाई हजुरआमाले पेन्टिङ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसमा रङ बनाउनुहुन्छ भनेर म उहाँको लागि बाटोमा खसेका फुलहरू ल्याएर उहाँलाई दिन्थेँ र उहाँलाई भन्थे कि ल यसबाट पनि रङ बनाउनुस् यसबाट पनि पेन्टिङ गर्नुस् अनि यो कुरा मलाई एकदम सहजै प्र्याक्टिसमा को जस्तो लाग्यो र उहाँको पछि उहाँ भित्ताहरू रङाउँदाखेरि पेन्टिङहरू गर्दाखेरि म उहाँलाई छोडेर कतै जाँदैन थिएँ र मलाई पनि काम गर्न दिनुहोस् भनेर उहाँ कहिलेकाहीँ दिक पनि मान्नुहुन्थ्यो कति मलाई भने यो डिस्टर्ब गरेको तिमी जाऊ खेल भनेर त्यही पनि म उहाँसँग बस्थेँ अब उहाँले त्यही पनि उहाँको म बसिरहन्थेँ उहाँले चाहिँ साइडमा कुनै कुनामा एउटा सानो चित्र बनाइदिनुहुन्थ्यो र यसमा तिमी रङ भर भन्नुहुन्थ्यो अनि म छिटो रङ भर्थेँ अनि उहाँले आश्चर्य भनेर भन्नुहुन्थ्यो हेर कति मभन्दा पनि राम्रो रङ भर्दो रहेछ भनेर अनि यसरी मलाई चाहिँ मिथिला पेन्टिङले नजिक ल्यायो र म फेरि त्यो गर्न थालेँ.
What we see today is not just an exhibition, it is a lived memory of culture, philosophy, and the changing world around us.
यसरी प्रत्येक घटनासँग जोडिँदै आएर एक्जिबिसन आएको हो र 2021 मा मिथिला कस्मस दशकको लक टाइम आयो त्यसपछि त्यो 22 मा सक्यो 22 को जनवरीमा सक्यो र त्यसपछि अहिले आएर यो 25 मा यो एक्जिबिसन आयो त्यो बीचको जुन अब फेरि यसलाई कसरी जोड्ने त अब जस्तो कि नेपाल एकाडेमी अफ फाइन आर्ट्समा म काउन्सिल मेम्बर हुँदाखेरि मैले आफ्नो देशको लोक कलाहरूलाई हेर्न पाएँ म लोक कला विभाग प्रमुख थिएँ हैन अनि त्यो हेर्दै जाँदाखेरि म पूर्वदेखि पश्चिमसम्म उत्तरदेखि दक्षिणसम्मका त्यो जिल्लाहरू भ्रमण गरेँ आफ्ना हाम्रा लोक कलाहरूलाई हेरेँ हाम्रो भनिन्छ हाम्रो देशमा 123 126 वटा भाषा बोलिन्छ त्यसका आफ्ना संस्कृति छन् आफ्ना चाहिँ रीतिथिति छन् त्यसभित्रका कलाहरू मैले हेर्न पाएँ र त्यो सबैलाई जोड्दै जाँदाखेरि एउटा आर्टिस्टले कसरी त्यो प्रभावित पार्दो रहेछ र त्यो स्टुडियोमा काम गर्दाखेरि त्यो एलिमेन्टहरू हेर्नु र त्यो एलिमेन्टलाई आफ्नो पेन्टिङमा चाहिँ समावेश गर्नु यो सहज रूपमा त्यो हुँदै जान्छ र यो सो ल्याउँदाखेरि चाहिँ तलको तल्लामा हामी चाहिँ हेर्छौँ क्यानभास वर्कहरू छ, त्यसमा देवी कथा छन्, गीताका सार छन्, जीवनका त्यो कथाहरू छन् र त्यसमाथिमा आउँदाखेरि उपत्यकाका कथा छन्, त्यसपछि जनकपुरको रामायण र अयोध्याको कथाहरू छ, रामायणसँग जोडिएको कथा छ, त्यसपछि बौद्ध कथाहरू आएका छन्। त्यो सिरिजहरूलाई कसरी एक ठाउँमा हामी कसरी विभिन्न जाति समुदायहरू एउटा साझा फुलबाडी हो, त्यसभित्रका संस्कृतिका कुराहरू त्यसभित्रका कुराहरू मैले ल्याउँदाखेरि मलाई त्यो आफैसँग आफूलाई परिचय गराउनु जस्तो र त्यो मैले कलाको माध्यमबाट बुझेर म यो कुरालाई म आफ्ना नयाँ पुस्ताहरूसम्म पनि यो चाहिँ यसरी हो हाम्रो देश, यो मिथिला पेन्टिङ भनेको एउटा समुदाय क्षेत्र समुदायको विशेषको पेन्टिङ होइन, यो नेपाली आर्ट हो। यदि मिथिला पेन्टिङको नेपाली कलाको कुरा गरेँ भने मिथिला पेन्टिङलाई छोडेर त्यो नेपाली आर्ट पुरा हुँदैन भनेर मेरो बुझाइमा मैले यसरी यो एक्जिबिसनले ल्याएको।
Mithila art carries centuries of tradition from Janakpur, from mythological narratives and wedding symbols to intricate floral motifs that speak of life, devotion, and identity. The power of Mithila painting lies in its detail. Every line, every border, every color has a purpose.
के हुन्छ कलाकारले जब घुम्छ ऊ चाहिँ ट्राभल गर्छ, चाहे त्यो देश विदेशको यात्रा होस् चाहे आफ्नो विषयवस्तु खोजी हिँड्छ र उसले अनुकरण गर्ने क्षमता मलाई लाग्छ उसँग धेरै हुन्छ। उसको दिमागमा त्यो कुराहरू आइरहेको हुन्छ क्या, त्यो आइरहेको र त्यो कतै न कतै कुरामा बसिरहेको हुन्छ। अब जब स्टुडियोमा बिस्तारै काम गर्दै जाँदाखेरि एउटा आर्टवर्कसँग करिब करिब एक सप्ताह उसले बिताउँछ, चाहे 15 दिनसम्म बिताउँछ त्यो विषयवस्तु र त्यसका त्यो फ्रेम अब्जेक्टहरूमा बिताउँछ र त्यसमा चाहिँ त्यसको दिमाग त खाली हुँदैन, ऊ सोचिरहन्छ र सोचेर त्यो बिताएका क्षणहरूमा उसले चाहिँ आफ्नो कलाहरूमा त्यसलाई चाहिँ प्रस्कृत गर्दै जान्छ र त्यो अनुभव बटुलेका चिजहरूलाई उसले चाहिँ त्यतिखेर सम्झँदै उसले चाहिँ केही सम्झना आउँछ र केही नयाँ चिज ल्याउँछ। पहिलो एक्जिबिसनहरू गर्दाखेरि त्यो छडिएको हुन्थ्यो जस्तै विभिन्न पेन्टिङहरूलाई ल्याएर एकै ठाउँमा गरेर त्यसमा एक्जिबिसन गरिएको जस्तो हुन्थ्यो। त्यसपछि के भयो भने मेरो पहिलो मिथिला सोलो एक्जिबिसनको टाइटल पनि मैथिली आर्ट थियो, त्यसपछि मैथिली आर्ट लिभिङ ट्रेडिसन भनेर आयो। त्यसरी जबसम्म त्यो म्याच्योर हुँदै जान्छ कलाकारले 1-2 स्टेपहरू हुन्छन् त्यो एक्जिबिसनहरू त्यसले अनुभव पनि बटुल्छ र बटुल्दै जाँदा भ्युअर्सहरूसँग भेट्छ, जर्नलिस्टहरू भेट्छ, क्रिटिक्सहरूसँग भेट्दै जाँदाखेरि त्यसको निखार आउँदै जान्छ, साधनाको निखार आउँदै जान्छ र त्यो चाहिँ विषयवस्तुसँग जोडिँदै जान्छ र आज आएर यो फ्रेममा चाहिँ हामी हेर्न पाउँछौँ।
Art becomes complete only when someone responds to it. In this gallery, every viewer sees something different. A memory, a symbol, a question, a reminder. What do the visitors find in this universe of Mithila?
Well, as an academician, I feel that Mithila painting is like a healing process to people. And this exhibition has expressed itself in a very beautiful way, expressing each and every motive which is present over here related to not only mythology but also related to emotions of the people, and it is like a story work over here. The entire journey of Mithila has been depicted over here, which speaks volumes not only about the artist but also about each and every object which has been portrayed over here.
Walking through these halls feels like traveling between timelines. The ancient and the modern coexist. Tradition is not frozen in the past. It evolves through those who carry it forward.
We feel like connected to Sumanji's works because he takes approach that's quite respectful, quite engaging and contemplative. And someone who speaks with contemplation, someone who prefers to remain in a discipline and work from the frame of that discipline. He had chosen the Mithila paintings framework, and he remains in that framework, and he stretches, expands the framework, and develops narrative power, descriptive power, that communicative power with that frame. And that's something amazing.
It may appear abstract at first glance, but spend a moment longer and stories begin to unfold of gods and goddesses, rituals and seasons, and the subtle emotions of everyday life. And within this rich visual grammar, Suman adds his own world, shaped by places he has lived, moments he has witnessed, and the history that surrounds him.
He was among the first generation artists of Mithila art. When he started his career from the kind of humble background he was in, with that financial background, very few people could actually make art and Mithila art in particular their primary career. So that is what separates him from other artists in that regard. However, I will also admit that a lot of other artists have also put in their contribution in the upliftment of Mithila art, and Mithila art has grown due to the collective effort of a lot of people.
From Vivaha Panchami in Janakpur to the lotus of Bodhanath, from the cosmic churn of Samudra Manthan to the silence of COVID lockdowns, Suman brings time onto canvas. His lines become memory, his colors become testimony.
Yeah, there are many favorites, you can see that. If you see that there are, each painting says some story. Like this is if you see this, here the wedding, Sita, Mata Sita wedding with the Ram. The procession going on, and every painting you will see that there are the nature. The S.C. Suman painting is the nature he captures very nicely. The color combination, you will find very rare artists, that type of eye-catching is that one. Many things are within the one paintings.
Mithila Cosmos reminds us that art is not only what we see, it is what we feel, return to, and carry within ourselves.
I have grown in a Mithila household. I've been very closely connected to the Mithila culture. I have been seeing Mr. Suman's exhibitions since a long time, and this is one of the third or fourth exhibition of his that I've been attending. So yeah, that I obviously know about what kind of paintings he does and what time does he conducts his exhibitions. So this is exactly how I found that he was gonna do an exhibition this year as well.
Has a similar sort of providing blessing sort of artwork in the form of like a lakudwa, which like exists in a door frame. So what he's done in that specific piece is behind a lakudwa is a cobra painting, so like a wedding specific painting. So he's combined these two cultures as part of his, and it's part of his own narrative because he moved from Janakpur to Nepal, so that's what he was trying to convey, the mixing of these two cultures. So yeah, I think the mixing and, you know, like venturing out of your own home place, which is very common these days, and traveling and seeing the world, I think that's, I think the contemporary connection.
Behind every exhibition is a vision that guides how artworks converse with space and audience. Curator Sangeeta Thapa has been a key voice in shaping Nepal's modern and contemporary art landscape.
His first exhibition, Mithila Cosmos, began in 2007, and what we have been seeing is that he is really celebrating the art forms of the Mithila world, along with the myths and legends of the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and this is something that we see all throughout the different editions of the Mithila Cosmos journey that he has with the Siddhartha Art Gallery. This is his 7th show, and we decided to call it Journey of a Pilgrim because the piety in the exhibition is very apparent, and his knowledge of the Ramayana or the Mahabharata, the myths and legends that we have grown up listening to and learning about, become central to his work. But Sumanji is also talking not only about Mithila art, he's from the Tarai, so he brings in elements from Tharu, Dusad, Salish, different forms of art form from indigenous communities in the Tarai, and he amalgamates it and he really makes it his own. Perhaps the most significant work in this show is called Samudra Manthan, and this is a story which has been visually narrated by so many artists, from Raja Ravi Varma to early 19th century engravings, but he has even amalgamated a Hakusai wave into this art form. So that is a really famous painting, The Wave, and you can see that influence has permeated his wave, his painting. Sumanjiko themes are not only religious, so whether it is the eco-anxiety that we all feel at present, the destruction of Nisgar forest or the Chure hills, he amalgamates all of that. During COVID, he had a specific work which he, asked the question, why were bats blamed for spreading COVID in the world? I mean, was the virus man-made? His belief in nature, the natural cosmology of the world, is something that you will see over and over again in his paintings.
As visitors step out, the colors remain. In imagination, in reflection, and perhaps in rediscovering where heritage meets the present.
Hom Bahadur Tamam, a gifted Thangka artist from the spiritual heart of Bodha, has turned his craft into a global bridge between tradition and business.
Thangka चाहिँ मैले 1976 मा सुरुवात गरेको। मेरो टिचर चाहिँ म भन्दा अघिल्लो मेरो दाइ हो, साइला दाइ। मेरो चाहिँ बाउपादेखि नै कलाकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो। पाटन, भक्तपुर, छामेल, दरबार स्क्वायरमा यसै पसल बेच्ने काम हुन्थ्यो। अनि त्यो बेच्दा मैले यो थाङ्का चाहिँ विदेशीले किन्दै रहेछ, आफैले विदेशसँग बेच्नुपर्छ भन्ने अलिकति मनमा मलाई अलिकति सोच आयो। त्यसपछि मैले 2050 सालमा यहाँ सुरु गरेँ, आजभन्दा 32 वर्ष अगाडि।
What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Kathmandu has blossomed into a thriving enterprise where sacred art meets business and tourism. With every brushstroke, Hom brings Nepal's rich spiritual heritage to the world, transforming Thangka painting into a symbol of cultural fusion.
त्यो बेला चाहिँ पसल कोही पनि यहाँ थिएन, किनभने त्यो मार्केटले चाहिँ कहाँ मार्केट हुन्छ भन्ने खोज्दो रहेछ। त्यो खोज्ने क्रममा म यहाँ आइपुग्यो। विदेशीहरू पनि यहाँ त्यति अहिले जस्तो बस्दैन, 5 मिनेट 10 मिनेटमा घुमेर जानुहुन्थ्यो। त्यतिखेर खाने रेस्टुरेन्ट पनि एकजना मात्रै थियो, एउटा मात्रै थियो। अहिले चाहिँ होस् त्यो बेला र अहिलेमा धेरै आकाश जमिनको फरक भएको छ।
His story is one of passion, innovation, and a deep commitment to preserving tradition while embracing the future.
विशेष गरी यो बौद्ध स्तूपसँग रिलेटेड छ। यो बुद्धको शिक्षासँग रिलेटेड यो थाङ्का चाहिँ संसारको मानिसहरू यो स्तूपलाई घुम्ने क्रममा यो प्रार्थना गर्ने मेन ठाउँ चाहिँ यो रहेछ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो चाहिँ विशेष गरी ओल्ड हेरिटेज साइटमा चाहिँ त्यो पनि के हो बुद्धिस्टको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ नेपालभरिको नै थाङ्का बिक्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ अति महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ यो नै हो वास्तवमा किनभने रियालिटी छ यो बुद्धसँग
From the hills of Ramechhap to the heart of Bodha, Kom Bahadur Damang has a glorious story to tell. A story of will, determination, struggle and success.
म आफै पनि रामसाप दुर्गम जिल्लामा जन्मेको चाहिँ नि रोजगार छैन त्यहाँ स्कुल छैन कलेज छैन अस्पताल छैन रोजगार छैन त्यसपछि म पनि रोजगारकै क्रममा यहाँ आएर मैले सुरुवात गर्यो अहिले चाहिँ म लगभग 49 वर्ष भयो यही पेशा गरेर दाल भात खाएको अब नयाँ पुस्तालाई पनि मैले हस्तान्तरण गर्नुपर्छ है भन्ने मेरो एउटा उद्देश्यले चाहिँ अहिले मैले नयाँ पुस्तालाई चाहिँ गाउँबाट आउनुहुन्छ स्कुल सकेर अनि बिहान चाहिँ कलेज जानुहुन्छ दिउँसो काम छैन त्यसकारणले मैले 3 महिना फ्री ट्रेनिङ दिने गरेछ उहाँको स्किल अनुसार टेस्ट गरेर हामीले यही तलब दिएर जस्तो बिहान कलेज पनि भ्यायो उसको कति हो त्यसो त्यहाँबाट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिँ 5 घण्टा 6 घण्टा 7 घण्टा पनि यहाँ जीवन चलाउने चाहिँ काम भइरहेछ अहिले
For 49 years, he painted, taught and empowered young artisans. Today, his school preserves tradition and creates futures.
हामीले यहाँ सुरुमा इन्टरभ्यु लिन्छु त्यसपछि एक हप्ता चाहिँ नि सानो क्यानभासमा हात ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु त्यसको शरीरको बडीहरु अलिकति ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु अनि एक हप्तापछि ओके भनेर ओके या यस भने कोही मानिस नसक्ने चाहिँ नि आधा घण्टामा 1 घण्टामा उठेर गइहाल्छ म सक्दैन ढाड दुख्यो किन उसको मन धेरै भएर गयो त्यो सक्दैन उ आउँदैन एक दिन पनि आउँदैन मात्रै आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो हामीले अपाङ्गलाई पनि सिकाएको छ जस्तो बाहिर कान नसुन्ने सिकाएको छ आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो त्यस्तै हो
As interest in Buddhism grows worldwide, so does the appreciation for our sacred art. Foreigners now come not just to admire but to learn, studying our architecture techniques and meditative Thangka traditions, giving new life to what was once known only within our borders.
बुद्धिज्म नेपाल हो नेपालमा जति छन् विश्वसम्पादकमा सूचीमा भएको मठ मन्दिर गुम्बद छ यसैबाट उहाँले पनि सिकेको वास्तवमा यो जुन बौद्ध स्तूपरा भनौं लुम्बिनी त्यो जस्तो उहाँले बनाउन सक्दैन यसको चाहिँ एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण के छ भगवान या चाहिँ दोस्रो तेस्रो बुद्धको रिलेटिभ यहाँ छ जति चाहिँ अहिले संसारमा यो बुद्धिज्म फैलिँदै जान्छ यो महायान बुद्धिज्म त्यतिकै ठाङ्गको भ्यालु चाहिँ बढ्दै छ अहिले जस्तो मेरै कुरा हो मैले 40-45 वर्ष यति ठाङ्गको महत्त्व थिएन किनभने वर्ल्ड वाइडमा बुद्धिज्ममा थिएन विदेशीहरूले जानेकै थिएन उनीहरूले त्यो सुरसुर आउँदाखेरि सानो तिनी एउटा नेपाल आउँदाखेरि सुपर नेट किन नलैजाऊ भन्ने मान्दै लाइन थियो अहिले चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ जस्तो अमेरिका युरोप तपाईको यो सिङ्गापुर ताइवान मलेसिया विभिन्न देशमा चाहिँ अहिले बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिसनर धेरै उहाँहरू चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ त्यसकारणले भविष्यमा यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ छ यसको मार्केट छ
As an artist, entrepreneur and a master, he feels fulfilled, creating beauty, guiding others and living with purpose.
मैले संसार जीवन जगतलाई थाहा पायो अहिले हामी सांसारिक जीवन छ सांसारिक जीवनमा कसरी जिउने र अर्कोलाई पनि कसरी जिउन दिने कला थाहा पायो त्यसपछि अब जुन देशमा जन्मे पनि जुन कुलमा जन्मे पनि 100% निश्चित के हो भने मृत्यु छ त्यो त निश्चित हो नि एउटै निश्चित छैन कहिले पनि निश्चित छैन तर त्यो मर्नेमा म कसरी मर्ने भन्ने कला पनि थाहा पाएँ मलाई त धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ मैले परिवर्तन भयो भने के हुन्छ मैले ठुलो पचेरो चढ्यो ठुलो गाडी त्यस्तो होइन तर मलाई खुसी छ सादा दाल भात खान पाएछ मैले परिवार पाल्नु पाएछ यही थाङ्गाले म जापान घुम्यो युरोप गयो चाइना घुम्यो बुद्धिस्ट कन्ट्री सबै घुमेको छ सबै ठाउँमा मैले घुम्नलाई मलाई पैसा आपत पनि परेन थाङ्गा सँगसँगै लान्दै ब्रिफिङ गर्दै बेच्दै दर्शन बेचेको हो त्यसकारण मलाई त एकदम खुसी छु म त पनि
Nepal is heading into its 2026 House of Representatives election, but once again, women are largely missing from the most powerful space of electoral competition, direct first-past-the-post seats. Out of nearly 3,500 FPTP candidates, only about 11% are women, and just one candidate identifies as third gender. Major political parties have fallen far short of the Election Commission's directive to field one-third women candidates in direct races, instead relying on proportional representation lists to meet constitutional requirements. In order to unpack why this keeps happening and what it means for democracy and gender justice, today in Insight, I'm joined by gender expert and senior journalist Namrata Sharma. Welcome to NTV World Insight.
Thank you, Sarah.
Let's begin with the current context and parties' dynamics when it comes to political representation of women. Despite constitutional commitments and repeated directives, women constitute only about 11% this time in the FPTP candidates for March 5 HOR elections. Why do you think political parties continue to field so few women in direct and probably winnable constituencies?
You know, actually, this is a very important topic you've brought out for discussion, especially as we are heading for a historic election. I want to just go one step further before answering your question. Is when I was observing the Gen Z movement, which was crucial in getting this election to happen, I was observing how in the social media, the leaders of the Gen Z population who were actually calling for the riot were equally women, or at times even more. But as the negotiations started coming on Facebook, on social media also, when the Gen Z teams were portraying themselves out openly, the pictures had only few, or most of the time, no women in the slots. Now that's a reflection of even the generation who rioted to bring a revolutionary change in the country. The fact that the political parties just now have failed to reach even 10% of the 33% that the Election Commission said, you know, the so-called mainstream Nepali Congress, UML and Communist Party, did not surprise me at all, because they have shown that trend before too. But what surprised me a lot was the fact that the party that is coming out with hope, that we all are hoping to make sure they win, Rashtriya Swatantra Party, also falls in the same category. So this is a historical and traditional and cultural context of Nepal that is still being seen while the candidates are being fielded. No one can say that they are not qualified, motivated, or perfect women candidates for first past the post system. Unfortunately, the political parties still have not given that seat.
This Election Commission's directive of including women or reaching the threshold, let's say, it's non-binding. Do you think it makes it less effective?
Well, actually, when something becomes binding, it does have a better impact. However, having said that, what I would like to say that the Constitution of Nepal also states clearly in black and white that every political party should have more than 33% or at least 33% representation in their party, and also get them to be involved in all decision making. That hasn't happened, even if it's binding, right? Now, I just want to touch over here in the local elections, because Constitution has certain binding roles. We do have people, at least one woman in topmost position in every municipality, you know, metropolis or village municipalities. Now, although the deputy position is preferred, but still, you know, it's a power-changing dynamic that has actually made Nepal one of the few countries in the world where all over the country there are women in decision-making positions, and Dalit women in every ward of the country. You see, in every local government. So, once it is a mandatory binding position, then it does make a difference. However, our political parties still have not shown the commitment, no matter whether it's the old mainstream political parties or the new ones, you know. Even if you look at the way Rasupa, like when you see representations in dialogues and discussions, you mostly see majority men, but there are very qualified, educated young women and women of every probably age group who are there within the party. So sometimes I feel, Sarah, this is also a kind of a mindset that is percolating, unfortunately, generation-wise.
When you mentioned that it was expected for newer parties to include more women in representation, it sounds like it is not expected from the old parties.
Not really, no. I think all, well, not more than not expected. I think what we can also say is they have shown a trend of not doing it. So, expectations comes less after that. However, you cannot say that you don't expect them to do better. You see, you hope them to do better. But they have shown and given examples ample number of times of not fielding able women candidates in the first past the post electoral system. What they have resorted to is putting the names of women whom they want in the parliament from the party in the proportional representation when they see that they may not win to the first past the post. And a perfect example was Arzurana Deuba. When it was clear that she was not going to win from the Dadal-Dhura constituency, that she was getting the ticket to do the first past the post this thing, they put her in the proportional, which goes against the principles and philosophy of having a proportional representation in the constitution of Nepal.
When you talked about local elections and the achievements that we are making in making sure that women are represented, it does look like a shift in the societal dynamics and representation. However, do you think the 33% requirement that the Constitution has guaranteed also promotes tokenism?
Many people argue that. My argument is, if there is inequality since ages, decades, in a country, how do you get rid of that inequality? Whether it's among the marginalized communities, based on gender, race, religion, social background, wealth status, how do you make sure that inequality is taken, is eliminated? The only way of doing it is through education. But even for that, in different levels of the life cycle of a person, you do need provision that people who have been marginalized for centuries, for decades, should be given opportunities where they can step up. I don't think it's tokenism. I think it's opportunity being given to those who have not had that opportunity because of various reasons. And that could be social, economic, cultural, religious, educational, class status. So I think that is needed. Who gets the seat is the question, I think Nepal now has enough women and people from, sexual minorities who can contest if they want to. One thing what I think is not correct is there are many women brought into political scenario in the coercion by the political parties, thinking that they will just do what we want them to do. That's not the thing. You should bring people who can raise the voice of those communities they represent. So it's women. Women should be able to raise the issues of women without fear of anyone opposing them. If it's people from transgender community, other sexual minorities, the Nepal government has other category now, people from that, there should be people who can voice. And there are ample number of people who have educational and experiential background who can do that.
I think with that you also answered an unasked question, especially from people who oppose reservation and quota system. Can we say that historically not all communities, not all groups have started their journey in equal footing? And equity, to maintain equity, we do need reservations.
Absolutely. That's what I mentioned earlier too. Absolutely. I feel that in order to make people come and access all the benefits that the state can offer, whatever little it may be, or get access to different systems, services, let's say, there has to be a quota system so they access it. Let's hope that a point will come when nobody needs it.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not only equality, equity is the right term that you used. So, in order to make people be equitable, you need to give and remove barriers so that they can come on the same footing. So that's why we need that.
Over successive elections in 2017, 2022 and now 26 as well, women's direct candidacy has stubbornly remained low. What do you think are the structural or cultural factors that explain this long-term stagnation?
There's several factors to it. A couple of things I've already mentioned, but one major factor that I haven't talked about is financial. Elections in countries like Nepal involves a lot of money, especially first past the post, and women usually don't have the capacity to spend that or the capacity to raise that kind of fund. And political parties prefer spending that money in male candidates rather than female candidates. So I think there's one of the main reasons why there are very few women candidates, even though there are several women candidates who could lead different sections of Nepal in different areas, is also because they lack funding. And this whole philosophy and principle of election system being based on money, money, mafia and macho used to be the term earlier, leads to that unfortunate situation, So if we have an electoral system where money is not spent, first of all, this is another thing I'm looking around and seeing the young leaders like Balin and all. I was hoping they would bring up the issues of, like when he contested for the election of the mayor of Kathmandu, he made a record of spending very less money, and whatever he spent was transparent, right? So I think there is still a lack of campaign by the new coming political parties and even the Gen Z revolutionaries that during elections money should not be spent. Because when people spend money, they get it from different places, and if you get X amount of Nepali rupees, then you'll have to multiply it by 10 when you reach the position.
Of course.
This whole philosophy of corruption attached with spending money in election system prevents women from coming in, and especially deserving and qualified and able women who can actually lead the country.
Globally, women make up roughly 27% of national parliamentarians, with only a handful of countries achieving gender parity and very few women leaders in executive roles as well. There are some cases like in Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, female Prime Minister last year. We also had our own female president and now female Prime Minister. These are several milestones that exist, but at the same time, deep gender imbalances are also persisting. What can Nepal learn from such international patterns of political systems?
I think the time has come for Nepal to start digging within our own system and what we have been doing right and wrong in the past, rather than always looking at the other countries. Countries nearer to our region might be more, as you yourself said, there are few Scandinavian countries who have achieved gender parity, but there are still very few. Even European countries, look at the United States of America, So in some cases, Nepal has done and shown that if there is a will and if there are systems where women can step on, they can reach leadership positions. For example, the local election. We should not forget that. Whether we have had deserving women candidates fielded in those positions or not, and whether all of them have achieved or not is a different question. But it has proved that if there are systems where women can step and can be posted, they can do it, right? At the same time, when we look at South Asian contest, first of all, Most of the South Asian countries, from Indira Gandhi onwards, they have had women prime ministers and presidents, right? Some of them have shown excellent statesmanship. Nepal has had prime minister, chief justice, speaker of the house, president. All of these women have come up from their cadres. People have written things about them saying that, oh, so and so may not be deserving or not, but that's not true. They have come where there are, men also come that way, you know, but when women have reached the topmost position, there's always, especially now in the age of social media, you know, sprinkling dust over her is very easy. So we have to be proud of the fact that in all of the topmost position, our women have shown that they can take up the leadership. People make mistakes. Men make mistakes, but nobody points at them, you know. But so I think what we need to do now, Sarah, is look at how we have actually had a constitution that has so many pro-female this thing, but why there are still leaders who bypass that, you see. So, and then in the field, I'll tell you one thing, after the restoration of 1990 till now, there has been lots of people's movement all over the country. And there are lots of women who have been trained as to be leaders in their communities. Now, if these women are given the chance, I think they can lead both in the local governance system and in the central system, in the House of Representatives too. So I think it is now for us to see how do we choose our candidates and how do we feel that them so that they win. And maybe if there is, what I also feel is if capable women leaders are given first past the post, are put in the proportional representation, and even in the next local elections, if they are given the right places, I think there will be increase of women. And when there is equality between the sexes, you know, and gender equality starts coming up, I think there will be more positive development for the country too.
Women are capable of leading.
I think
they have the qualities as well. Are we not demanding enough then?
Well, yes, I think you've touched one right thing is, you know, we have been demanding a lot. That's why there lots of pro-women laws have been brought, right? However, I think within the now when you are talking of elections and candidates, let's go back to the political parties again. I think within the political parties and outside, networking for capable, you know, able and qualified women is still lacking. You see, I think male networking is more, you know, there are different forums they have where they network. Women still, you know, like I have been meeting lots of women leaders, they still have the household responsibilities. Many of them may have been able to give it up, but that's a very small percentage. Majority of the women are still burdened with the gendered role and responsibilities that has been with them for ages, right? And compared to the male candidates, once the male candidate is stepping out for a powerful position, the whole household, the whole community supports that. Women are also getting that support and recognition, but the roles and responsibility that she has to take in the domestic front, in the family, in a country like Nepal, there's still a huge joint family commitments that women still play. The caretaking role, the care economy of this country is still sustained by women. Care economy, I mean, is taking care of the children, of the elderly. Men are also good at it, but still there's majority women are taking care of that. So where do they find the time to go out and mingle and you know, network and all that? So, you know, these are a lot of questions that are there, which is still has, Nepal may have changed in different aspects, but the social, economic, communal, all these constraints are still there, which women still struggles, and she takes it along. But her struggle within herself is more to reach this position, you see. And she's still trying, I think. Not she, lots of women are trying. But the whole atmosphere to make sure that they get that support within the community and the household and out in the open arena is still not as much as it should be. I think that's also a hindrance point.
In countries, of course, as you mentioned about Scandinavian scenario, that have strong gender quotas and enforcement, the proportion of women in parliament tends to be higher. What specific practices, if there are any other or international models in your observation, that Nepal could adapt to strengthen inclusion?
You know, as I said again, earlier I used to think, you know, different countries have different models that we can adapt. You know, one of the main things, for example, I'll give you a personal example myself, you know, that I myself saw when I was doing a human trafficking story in Finland. You know, one of the things that I heard over there when I was digging information related to my story, the other information that came out was there are lots of male migrant workers languishing in the jail of Finland in rape cases. Why? Because, you know, they used to have relationship with Finnish girls, white, and, you know, like, they used to feel that, oh, I have a foreign girlfriend. So they drink a lot, you know. These are young people, both boys and girls. After they drink, these girls and boys, the Finnish girls and boys, are raised from the beginning, since they have their senses, is if there's something you don't want, you say no. And when you say no, the other person will have to stop, no matter what. So then they teach them, if somebody gets physical with you or violent with you and you say no, just stop. Then as soon as that person moves away, you go to the nearest police station. And all the police stations actually support them. The system is such that, especially for children, youngsters and also others, that system is so ingrained right from the birth. And they take that system. Now, in our case, what happens is the migrant boys, and there were many from Nepal also, they're not taught that when somebody says stop, you stop, and that's not the ingrained value system. You know, as you grow up, these are life skills we develop, right? And you don't have that value system. So that kind of system that Finland has been able to ingrain into the children, and these children grow into adults. So I gave you an example of sexual abuse, right? Or how to take my rights in my hand. So the Finnish population, no matter what gender they belong to, they are taught right from the beginning, these are the government facilities and everybody can achieve it, get access to it. And when you want to move into different services, positions, these are the qualifications you need, and nobody can stop you. If somebody stops you because of gender, because of race, because of culture, community, society, then you can file a complaint, and that complaint is taken seriously. You see? So I think that is what we need now, Sarah. We have a system in this country. We have laws to protect the minorities. We have laws to give rights. As you said, there is a debate on quota or not quota. And I hear, you know, I interact with youth a lot these days, and they keep on saying, oh, we don't want quota. Girls say that. But, you know, when you look at this, if there is a system put in place, and if somebody wants to access it, there should be a system which allows them to access it, and no matter of hindrance should stop it, whether inside the political parties or from outside. So I think that is a model we need to incorporate. And otherwise, what we need to do is, as I said earlier, we need to look into the good that we have done since 1990, you know, and really get people who can really contest and lead their communities in each area, you know. I think that can be done.
Is it lack of competency or lack of opportunity that is stopping women from rising in political system?
I think capability and opportunities for women are there. Now those women who want to really aspire, they should also have a capacity to fight within the party. I'm actually very disappointed that in Rashtriya Swatantra Party also, both male and female members of that party did not fight enough to show that they can field 33% women candidates, and they can get the right women candidates to come and field. I'm really disappointed, you know. They could have done it. So the opportunity is also there for women, the capability is also there. But the whole system, as I was saying, that need to assert for their rights also has to be there. And this whole mindset of sidelining women is still there.
Now, beyond electoral participation, women around the world, including elected officials and activists, face rising threats, especially in latest time in the digital domain. Online abuse, harassment and violences, it can silence their voice and deter political engagement as well. How significant do you think are these issues in Nepal's context, and what needs to be done to protect women in public light?
This digital media is a boon, but at times it's a curse too, because they seem to be attacking, and we have ample number of data to prove that there are both men and women are harassed, especially those who are vocal, media personalities, politicians, journalists. They are attacked in the social media, in all digital platforms, but more women are attacked. And this is because that trend of physical attack, physical violence per se, is percolating more now and into the digital platform now. And as AI is coming, it's going to be even worse. AI is already here, but I was reading different reports, research reports, that's going to be a boon to humanity, but there's going to be a huge form of violence, particularly against women, children, and particularly girl children. Lots of crime is going to happen in the digital platform, especially as AI is getting more and more active, you see. And in Nepal also, we have ample number of research stories, if people want to refer to, which shows that women journalists are attacked more, women politicians are attacked more, and women who are in every sphere of life, including women who may just be homemakers or people who are just students and all that, If you also look at the trolling that goes on, the kind of language that is used against women, sexual minorities, is terrible. People used to say it verbally, those who heard finished. Now it's there on the digital platform to be seen, and it hurts the dignity of other people too, who may not even be attacked through that person, you see. So it is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. And it's, addressing, like our government, what they're trying to do is, in the name of privacy, protection of privacy, they want to stop media writing. That's not the way to do it. Again, here I think education is again required. Digital education, media literacy is very, very important, so that people know what is out there in the digital platform is correct, and how they can go about to find out if that is fake news.
I think the attempt to clamp down on social media itself kind of acted like a matchbox to the current scenario that we are in, and what you said called strongly for a strong regulation. Thank you so much for being on NTV World Insight.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, NTV World, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts to everybody.
Well, the decreasing representation of women in direct election has definitely suggested that political participation in Nepal has expanded on papers, but access to real power, especially through direct elections, remains unequal. Bridging that gap requires more than constitutional promises. It definitely demands political will, enforceable reforms, and a shift in how leadership is imagined and distributed. Our discourse on equality and equity will continue here on Insight. Until next time.
During Lichevi period, Chango Narayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Chango inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing-like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Chango Narayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied
Everest, I would say, is high, but it's easier to climb than Makalu. Makalu is a little bit technical. Kanchenjunga is very high. It's technical and it's isolated. Everest, you get internet on base camp all the time. Camp 2 is quite big. Camp 2, you get internet again. Now people even have internet on Camp 4. So I would say Everest is easier, it's higher, difficult for sure, but Makalu and Kanchenjunga are less climbed and they are definitely harder. Kanchenjunga was very hard. They have different challenges, but I think K2 is definitely more technical, more harder. So K2 has different challenges, but both mountains have different challenges. If I have to compare the two, one is K2 is more. So I'm planning to climb Shishapangma in autumn because China sometimes doesn't give permits out. It's better to climb when the permits are being given. And I'm planning to climb Dhaulagiri next year in spring. I always take one Sherpa, and I climbed in Nepal mostly with Imagine Nepal, one peak with 7 summits. I always go with one Sherpa because I think it's safer. I mean, when I send mostly, I just keep going. I don't need anybody, but if any emergency happens, then it's better to have a guide with you, and a local guide who knows the mountain. I'm strong enough. Sometimes I'm just going by myself. I do need oxygen, so they carry it. But I am a mother of 2 small girls, so I will not climb without the help of Sherpa. It's something usually mothers, like I haven't seen any young mothers on the mountain, so it's not because it's not easy to leave your young kids. Anything can happen if you die, then who's going to look after the kids. But I have some sort of confidence. Maybe people will not agree, but I know I will come back down for my young girls. And usually people say, how can you leave your young girls behind? But when I'm on the mountain, I have a difficult moment. I think about my daughters, that my daughters need me, so I need to go back no matter what. So I put extra effort. I'm more focused just because I know I have 2 daughters home. So they've been my strength, not my weakness. I think collaboration is very important. Like you said, Pakistan and Nepal has most number of 8,000 meter peaks. We can learn a lot from Nepal when it comes to tourism, because we are very behind. Your economy, you get in your GDP, most of the revenue comes from tourism, and we have beautiful mountains like Nepal, but we don't get we have very minimal revenue that comes from tourism. So we can learn definitely from Nepal, and the process is like everything. When we get to Nepal, to when we get to base camp, to summit, back, and then out of the country, it's like I love the process in Nepal. We are very far behind, and but we have tourism potential. So I think we can collaborate in that sense, where we can learn from Nepal experience. I don't see many Nepalis in Pakistan, so I mean we should like promote tourism of Nepalis also, and Pakistanis coming also to each other's country. There's definitely room for improvement when it comes to collaboration between the 2 countries, and I know we love Nepali and Nepali also love us, so yeah, we need to make use of that. I think first time the process of coming in, because in Pakistan it was hard. Now it's improving. As soon as we come in, it was easy. People are really nice. I think most Nepali I met are nice, friendly. They know how to communicate, and yeah, I think that was the best part, the friendliness of the Nepali people and the kindness. Hardship for me personally is being away from family. So Kanchenjunga, for example, I said is isolated. It's very far from connectivity. So not being able to speak to the family, for example, was the hard. I mean, nothing that I had no difficulty from Nepal itself or the people from Nepal, but just being away from family and emotional difficulty.
Experience has always been good. Nepali, if I say Nepali, I would say like धेरै राम्रो छ. मलाई नेपालको टुरिज्म मेरो एक्सपिरियन्स धेरै मन पर्छ, खुसी लाग्छ नेपालमा. यस्तो घर जस्तो vibe हो. I've loved Nepal. This country has accepted me a lot, and it's a pleasure for me to be here always. If we talk about Nepal, I think it's more commercial, and I think the tourism in Nepal is like very fast in Pakistan, but now eventually in Pakistan it's growing as well. But if I compare Karakoram or Himalayas, Karakoram are more like steeper and more difficult, more technical to climb, and the specific region and the moving glaciers and everything that make them more difficult, and especially the change of weather. So I believe that the Karakorams are more difficult to climb. I've seen a lot of Sherpas in Nepal, in Pakistan, who come to climb a lot of mountains. Mero sabai sathihharu Nepalko, every season they come to K2 and Thangka and Rock Peak to climb that mountain, and they are one of the elite climbers as well. So, in Pakistan there is much respect to the Sherpas. In Pakistan is so good. Sherpaहरू सबै धेरै मन पर्छ पाकिस्तानमा. यो जो सेम घर जस्तो लाग्छ. मलाई त 3वटा कन्ट्री त मन पर्छ. तिब्बतमा अलिकति गाह्रो छ, यसको पर्मिटको भिजाको अलिकति गाह्रो छ. अनि नेपालमा त इजी, पाकिस्तानमा इजी हो. मलाई त राम्रो लाग्छ. It's more like Nepal or Pakistan friendship expedition, something like that. And I think it's a great idea. It should be initiated. And we are up, me, Sarvaz, Naila, we are one of the Pakistani climbers, and yes, of course in Nepal there are a lot of climbers as well. So we can combine an expedition, we can launch it to Everest or K2, whatever it feels like.
I climb Nanga Parvat solo, also Broad Peaks. Then K2 I have one Pakistani climbing partner. Sherpa in last one day, just and Camp 4 to Camp 4. I use Sherpa. In जिस कंपनी में मैं आया था उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं आप अकेले क्लाइंब कर सकते हैं लेकिन विंड बहुत ज़्यादा है, लेकिन आपको शेरपा लेके जाना पड़ेगा। फिर आखिरी दिन वो शेरपा साथ दिया तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो शेरपा के ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया, शेरपा ने भी। विंड भी बहुत ज़्यादा था तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह समिट हो गया उस वजह से। इस माउंटेन इज़ नॉट डिफरेंट, मुश्किल वो भी है, मुश्किल ये भी है। यहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं कि माउंट एवरेस्ट बहुत आसान है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। यहाँ के जो लोग हैं उन लोगों ने काम किया है, इस वजह से यहाँ पे आसान है। अदरवाइज़ आप ख़ुद से जिस तरीके से हमने क्लाइंबिंग की यहाँ पे, ख़ुद से अगर क्लाइंबिंग करें, आप अपना जूता खुद पहने, अपने लिए पानी खुद बनाएं, अपने लिए रूट खुद बनाएं, तो ये बहुत आसान काम नहीं है। क्योंकि मैंने देखा है एवरेस्ट के अंदर, एवरेस्ट का कैंप 4 तक, बेस कैंप से कैंप 4 से समिट इतना ही डिस्टेंस बराबर है। तो डेथ जोन के अंदर आप 6-7 घंटा 12 घंटा आप रहते हैं, आसान नहीं है। तो हर पहाड़ का अपना एक खेल है। जैसा K2 है, K2 के ऊपर एवलांच वगैरह होते हैं, आइस फॉल होता है, रॉक गिरता है। यहाँ पे ये नहीं होता, लेकिन उसके बदले में फिर इसकी हाई बहुत ज़्यादा है, बहुत ज़्यादा हाई है और लंबा बहुत ज़्यादा है। तो इंसान है बहरहाल, वो क्या कहते हैं कि तकलीफ़ होती है हर जगह पे, हर पहाड़ का अपनी एक तकलीफ़ है। तो बहरहाल ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस था। मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा यहाँ पे नेपाल में आके, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जिस तरीके से लोग काम करते हैं, इवन बेस कैंप से लेके टॉप तक जो लोग काम करते हैं, अगर इस तरीके से अगर हम कोशिश करें पाकिस्तान के अंदर, अगर हमारे जो क्लाइंट्स हैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल के जो क्लाइंट्स आते हैं उनके लिए इस तरीके से प्रोफेशनल तरीके से हम अगर खिदमत करें तो डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी बहुत ज़्यादा टूरिज़म आ सकता है। क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे एक पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक चीज़ की कमी है कि प्रोफेशनल लोग बहुत कम हैं। यानी जैसा माउंटेन गाइड्स है ही नहीं कोई, मतलब सरबाज वगैरह जो अभी जो नए लड़का है, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अगर आने वाले 2-3 साल में ये एक आध होंगे। तो हमें इनिशियल स्टेज पे यहाँ पे किसी तरीके से हमें कोई ऐसा एक्सेस मिल जाए कि हमें कोई ट्रेनिंग्स मिल जाए, जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे लोग काम करते हैं इसी तरीके से अगर हम पाकिस्तान में भी थोड़ा सा अवेयरनेस के साथ अगर हमें 1 साल की अगर ट्रेनिंग दे दे तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे लोग भी बहुत ज़्यादा तगड़े हैं। तो क्योंकि जो क्लाइंट जो है वो सर्टिफिकेशन देखता है, तो वो देखता है कि कितना ट्रेंड है और कितना मतलब इसके पास एक्सपीरियंस है। तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एक्सपीरियंस तो हम लोगों के पास भी बहुत है, लेकिन सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं होने की वजह से मतलब फॉरेनर जो है जो हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम करता है। तो ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी नेपाल से जो शेरपाज है उनको लेके आते हैं और उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट किया जाता है, हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम किया जाता है।
I'm lucky when someone says you looks like a Sherpa, or you say that some or says you are like a Sherpa, you're like strong with Sherpa. I'm very happy because in this world, in this our climbing community, Sherpas like brand. Yeah. So I'm very happy when someone says you looks like Sherpa, or you are like Sherpa. Oh yeah, in 2021, in COVID time, he said, oh, Nepali or Pakistani passport. I said, oh, come on, man. I'm from Pakistan. So yeah, my look is like a Tibetan, and my mother from Skardu, and yeah, I climbed my first 8,000 is Nanga Parbat with Sherpas. So maybe Mimaji is the first K2 winter summiter. And I'm lucky I climbed with Mimaji my first 8,000. Yeah, even I start my climbing career with Sherpas. So till now, I think 90% of my 8,000ers are climbing career with Sherpas. So most of my climbs with Sherpas in Pakistan, Nepal, and in Tibet, China. Like Tikcha, like this, yeah. Yeah, I feel when I come to Nepal, I feel like my second home, to be honest. All Sherpas, even 80% of Sherpas, they know me, and I have a good relation with Sherpas, they respect. I think who are living in the mountains, almost same culture, same honesty, and yeah, little bit food is a little bit different, but yeah, I think who are living on the mountains, connect with nature, so both are the same, but so we need to extend our seasons, like autumn. We have autumn and spring also, but we have no qualified climbers, guides, so we need work on this, and then yes, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, because when I start my climbing career in 2016-17, and I climbed my first 8,000er Thangka Parbat, that time I announced Mission Summit 14 without oxygen. But later on Annapurna, Kanchenjunga and Everest, the last part, I feel the weather was very bad and strong winds. I use oxygen. So I repeat this year these 3 peaks, like K2 in last year, Annapurna and Kanchenjunga this season. So I'm very happy. This is the big, I think, in adventure tourism, like in climbing. You can say it's a FIFA World Cup, like when you are climbing without oxygen, without Sherpa. But we help. We need without Sherpa's help. You can say without Sherpa. So without oxygen, I complete my Mission Summit 14 and become first Pakistani. This is not for me or not my family. It's like, this record for whole Pakistan. So I'm feeling very proud. To be honest, after 8 years, I complete my big dream. I think this is sometime when I remember my all past and my climbing career, I feel very different because I came as a kitchen boy, as a porter. I worked as a kitchen boy 6-7 years when I was in college. So after 8 years, when I complete my Mission Summit 14, it looks like a dream. It looks like of course different experience because it's involved weather, it's terrain, But it's most difficult is of course Kanchenjunga and Annapurna here in Nepal, in Pakistan K2 and Thangka Parbat. So every peak have different terrain, different hardness, or its difficult level is. Manaslu is like I think easiest mountain in Mission Summit 14, like in Pakistan G2 and Manaslu in Nepal is easiest. Sometimes it's like 2 years, 3 years ago, it's the BKO launch cam and even our team, 3 Sherpas injured. Sometimes it's mountain is mountain. We can't fight against the nature. Like sometimes happen. Every mountain is like difficult level is different. But sometimes easy. You can say this is easy, but it's like remember in Shishapama last year in 2023. Big accident there, and Gina from US, Anna, and one of the Lama, one of the best climber in Nepal, we lost. Sometimes it's happened like this. If you have manpower, Annapurna first. Between Camp 2 and Camp 3, you can't understand what happened. When you are climbing between Camp 2 and Camp 3, sometimes your breath level is like, I can't explain because I climbed 2 times, so I feel inside. So I climbed 3 times K2, but I think in Pakistan we have very strong climbers, but like trainings, even in here in Nepal, I think 3-4 big like NNMGA, IFMGA. Like this institute, but in Pakistan, till now, single person we have not certified, IFMJ certified. But I think in Nepal, 80 plus IFMJ guides, So we need collaboration with Nepal or like Norway. So we need to establish some good institutes, schools, training schools. Then hopefully we have in future we improve in climbing and in tourism department. Nepal is like really they make good rules and regulations for tourists. What you need, is freedom. Everything is available. Yeah, every year more people. I saw more climbers visiting Nepal, and more ability like IFMGA guides. More they add every year like 5, 6. So this is a good sign for Nepal to boost adventure tourism in Nepal. In starting days, I faced very difficult because I have no sponsors. But Migmaji is like my brother. He helped me a lot, and yes, if I'm here this time in Nepal, and I do because of him. He's helped like his brother. And Alhamdulillah, I hard worker, and God give me a opportunity, and they give me success one by one, and now I am here. And after my 6th week, I got first sponsors, local sponsor from Pakistan. Then till now I have because before 6th I visited 2 times in Nepal, once Manasu, once Lhotse. So that time Migmaji gave me an opportunity to come to Nepal and climb with my company, and I already 2 trainings from here, me and Abdul Joshi and Suhail from Pakistan. So in future, yes. But now I am getting old, so my plan is like this. I want to introduce IFMGA in Pakistan, the most important thing. We have no single one, IFMGA certified single one. So we need to establish some schools, some training centers. And I work with as a guide. It's different question. I think so. I don't like even too much branding, but I work as a ground level to establish one school and more people to involve in climbing, because we have potential. We have 8,000ers or 6,000 and 7,000, even in Pakistan, unclimbed peaks also. So I want to try to establish one good school and yes, I have some. I already start my book. So we are thinking about also a documentary, good documentary, not like maybe 20%, little bit up and down, but 80% I want natural to try natural, not like fake. Good friend, my partner, Saad Munawar, he's just 3 years before he climbed from north side, Everest. He's the first Pakistani to climb from north side. So he's a nice writer also. So we together.
So from
when humans are approached and interfere in the nature, there was. But we need to clean, because you saw nowadays last 3-4 years climate change, like we don't understand what happened on whole. But we have big glaciers. The most affected areas, I think, in Nepal and Pakistan, because we have big glaciers like Siachen, Himalaya here, Siachen, Baltoro, Biafo. So we need to protect also our glaciers.
Pakistani climbers today here, and this is also a shared heritage of Pakistan and Nepal, that out of 14 8,000ers, 13 of us, 13 we share between us, and K2 and Everest You can see on the plaque that is also on the right on my wall that we share this heritage. And recently I also congratulate Nepal for holding Sagarmatha Samvad, which highlighted that ecology and the mountains' fragile ecology is not a given, and we need to do something to protect it. And in doing so, I think we celebrate our climbers, and we also celebrate those who are preserving it and the geography of the region. Climbers, some of them are here, they can also join them, and then they can have a joint expedition both to K2 and Everest.
This is The World This Week, your weekly roundup of the latest international events and updates. This is me, Bhavana Casey. In this edition, we bring you the stories making headlines across the globe. From Ukraine peace efforts to US-Iran talks, scientific research to cultural milestones and remarkable human feats. Let's start with the US broker talks held in Abu Dhabi between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia have carried out a rare prisoner and civilian exchange following 2 days of US brokered peace talks in Abu Dhabi. The talks, however, produced no breakthrough, with Ukrainian President Zelensky saying progress had been difficult and calling for faster results. A total of 157 Ukrainians, 7 of them civilians, and 157 Russian soldiers were returned home in the first such swap in 4 months. Russian, Ukrainian, and US teams took part in the talks in the capital of the United Arab Emirates, with the main sticking points believed to be territorial concessions. Ukraine is under pressure to secure security guarantees to prevent further Russian attacks if a deal is agreed to end the 4-year war. Ukrainian officials say 139 had been in Russian captivity since 2022. The talks in Abu Dhabi, the second round in recent weeks, are part of US President Donald Trump's efforts to end the war. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner have been leading the negotiations. Witkoff says the talk had been detailed and productive, but added that significant work remains. The most difficult issue is territory, with Russia demanding that Ukraine cedes the rest of the eastern industrial region of Donbass that Moscow does not currently control. Another key sticking point is believed to be Kiev's demand to get robust security guarantees from its European allies and the United States. In a developing story at this point in time, US and Iranian officials are holding direct talks in Oman as tensions rise and fears grow of a possible military confrontation between the two countries. The talks, which are a part of a regional diplomatic effort to ease tensions, follow a US military buildup in the Middle East after Iran's crackdown on nationwide protesters. The talks between US and Iranian officials have begun in Oman amid weeks of escalating tensions and fears of a military confrontation between the two countries. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi traveled to the Omani capital Muscat for the discussions, while US President Trump's advisors Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are also said to take part. An Iranian Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson says the goal of the meeting is to reach a fair, mutually satisfactory and honorable agreement regarding the nuclear issue. The exact topic of the discussion remains unclear, as the Trump administration has been pushing for issues beyond Iran's nuclear program to be on the table despite clear opposition from Tehran.
Members of the UK Parliament have voted to approve the release of documents linked to the vetting process that led to Peter Mandelson's appointment as a US ambassador. The move comes amid mounting pressure on Prime Minister Starmer following renewed allegations about Mandelson's close ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Starmer has publicly apologized to Epstein's victims and said he was sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies, accusing the senior Labour figure of misleading those responsible for approving his appointment. Mandelson gave the impression during the vetting process that he barely knew Epstein, an account Starmer now says was inaccurate.
I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. And sorry that even now you're forced to watch this story unfold in public once again. But I also want to say this. In this country, we will not look away. We will not shrug our shoulders. And we will not allow the powerful to treat justice as optional. We will pursue the truth. We will uphold the integrity of public life. And we will do everything within our power and in the interests of justice to ensure accountability is delivered.
The decision follows renewed allegations about Mandelson's past relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and questions over whether those ties were fully disclosed before his appointment in 2024. Opposition lawmakers and some members of Starmer's own party have called for greater transparency, arguing that the release of the documents is necessary to restore public trust and clarify what information was provided to ministers and officials at that time. The UK government has said it will comply with Parliament's decision, though the timing and scope of the document release have not yet been confirmed. The controversy has intensified scrutiny of the government's handling of senior appointments and raised broader questions about accountability and due diligence at the highest levels of public office.
In the medical research old, over 100 years of preserved bowel cancer samples at London's St. Mark's Hospital may help explain why the disease is rising among people under 50. Researchers hope the Boomers project will uncover links between diet, lifestyle, environmental factors, and DNA changes by comparing old and modern samples.
In a dusty room in the basement of St. Mark's, the National Bowel Hospital in London of the UK, over 100 years of bowel cancer samples have been preserved and stored in cardboard boxes. These samples, which are almost thrown away, may now hold the key to understanding why bowel cancer is increasing worldwide among people under 50. The study, called the Boomers Project, will analyze samples from the 1960s and compare them with modern-day cancer samples with the hope of uncovering how changes in diet, lifestyle, and environmental factors may be driving the rise in bowel cancer among younger people. Kevin Monahan of the St. Mark's Hospital says the research team is sequencing the DNA and through other lab techniques to understand what the exposures were.
There's a perception of a typical bowel cancer patient as someone who eats unhealthily and doesn't exercise, but it's not my experience. Actually, in my experience personally, in my clinical experience, where I see people who are newly diagnosed with bowel cancer at a young age, they say, well, why has this happened to me? Because I'm healthy, I eat healthily, I exercise regularly. And I say to them, it's nothing to do with what you have done. Although exercising regularly and doing all those things is very important over your lifetime, it will result in a healthier life.
The Institute of Cancer Research in London says diagnosis of the disease among the under 50s are expected to double between 2010 and 30.
India's legendary comic series Amar Chitra Katha, first launched in 1967, remains a favorite among young readers for its vivid tales of Indian mythology and history. Now embracing digital platforms, the series has refreshed its storytelling and artwork while continuing to celebrate and preserve India's rich cultural heritage.
India's iconic comic book series Amar Chitra Katha continues to remain popular nearly 6 decades after its launch in 1967. The series, created to introduce children to Indian mythology, history and folklore, has adapted to changing media consumption habits in the digital era.
Amar Chitra Katha, which means immortal illustrated stories, has expanded beyond readers on smartphones, tablets, and other digital platforms. Despite the rise of streaming services and online entertainment, the coming series continues to attract young audiences and preserve interest in India's cultural heritage. Publishers say the series has updated its storytelling and artwork to appeal to contemporary readers while retaining its original mission of educating children about India's historical figures, legends, and religious traditions. It is noted that the Amar Chitra Katha's ability to adapt to modern technology and maintain its relevance highlights the continued demand for culturally rooted content in India's children's media market. Brazilian multisport athlete Pepe Mancini has set an unusual endurance record by running 188 kilometers in 24 hours on a treadmill. Mancini's feat highlights the growing popularity of extreme endurance challenges in Brazil and worldwide. The feat concluded at an open-air gym on the famous Ipanema beach in Rio de Janeiro, where a festive countdown 10, 9, 8, 7 marked the end of his marathon effort. Mancini, known in Brazil for his extreme athletic challenges, trained for months in preparation for the attempt, which tested both his physical stamina and mental resilience. The athlete said the attempt was not only a personal goal but also an effort to inspire others to push their limits and pursue their own endurance challenges. It is said that running such a distance in a controlled environment like a treadmill presents unique challenges, including heat management, repetitive strain, and maintaining focus over an extended period. Mancini's achievement adds to a growing trend of extreme endurance records in Brazil and around the world. China's Shenzhou 21 astronauts have been conducting experiments and health checks aboard the Tiangong space station for over 3 months. They are studying how medicines work in space while doing exercises to keep their muscles strong in weightless conditions.
China's Shenzhou 21 astronauts have steadily carried out in-orbit experiments, health monitoring, and maintenance tasks aboard the Tiangong space station over the past week, according to the China Manned Space Agency CMSA. The crew consists of mission commander Zhang Lu and astronauts Wu Fei and Zhang Hongzhang. They have spent over 3 months in orbit and are all in good condition. In the field of space medicine, the astronauts have been continuing work on a pharmacokinetics research project. By collecting saliva samples, which will be sent back to the Earth, they aim to support researchers in studying how medications behave in microgravity. The resulting data will help improve in-orbit drug use protocols for future missions. In terms of physical health, the crew participated in lower limb stimulation exercises while wearing biomimetic adhesive shoes. These exercises are designed to stimulate the flexor muscles of the legs under weightless conditions. Electromyography and muscle ultrasound data from the lower limb muscle groups were collected for further research.
The guitar played by late rock legend Kurt Cobain on Nirvana's hit song Smells Like Teen Spirit will be auctioned next month. The 1966 Fender Mustang is one of several famous instruments being offered for sale. The instrument is among a wide-ranging collection of historic musical instruments being offered for sale, spanning multiple eras of popular music. Auction organizers say the items provide a rock history from the British invasion to the rise of alternative rock in the early 1990s. Cobain, who died in 1994 at the age of 27, became a reluctant voice of a generation, and artifacts linked directly to Nirvana's global success remain scarce and highly sought after. Also included in the sale is the logo emblazoned bass drum head used by the Beatles during their landmark TV appearance in February 1964, a performance widely credited with igniting Battlemania in the United States and reshaping the American music industry. Together, the items highlight pivotal moments in rock history, underscoring how individual instruments and stage props can come to represent seismic shifts in popular culture. Meanwhile, the world of music is also celebrating its present stars as the 60th Grammy Awards was held in Los Angeles, with Kendrick Lamar emerging as the biggest winner for the second year in a row.
Golden, The inescapable hit from the movie K-pop Demon Hunters has become the first ever K-pop song to win a Grammy Award. Performed by the fictional band Hunter X, it picked up Best Song for Visual Media as the awards ceremony got underway in Los Angeles. Released last June, K-pop Demon Hunters became Netflix's most viewed movie of all time with more than 480 million views. The propulsive soundtrack, full of candy-coated earworms, became the first to top the Billboard charts since 2022, when Disney's Encanto created a similar craze. Its success at the Grammys suggests a growing recognition of Korean pop's cultural and commercial force. Other early winners included British stars Youngblood, The Cure, and FKA Twigs, and 8-year-old Aura V became the youngest ever Grammy recipient for Best Children's Album. The premiere ceremony took place across the street from the main Grammy Awards at Los Angeles Peacock Theatre. Ahead of the ceremony, Kendrick Lamar took home 3 awards, including Best Rap Song for TV Off, continuing his Grammys winning streak. 86 of the night's 95 prizes were handed out, covering most of the genre categories, including Best Country, Best Rap, and Best R&B. The first award of the event went to Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, who picked up Best Pop Duo or Group Performance for their wicked duet Defying Gravity. British star Youngblood won Best Rock Performance for his live rendition of Black Sabbath's Changes, recorded during Ozzy Osbourne's farewell concert in Birmingham last year.
Thank you so much. I can't believe this.
Kenyan designers are highlighting sustainability at Nairobi Fashion Week, showcasing collections made from locally sourced and eco-friendly materials. The event aims to raise awareness about fashion's climate impact while promoting Africa as a leader in environmentally conscious designs. Kenyan designers are taking the runway in a bold effort to promote sustainability and decarbonization in the fashion industry at the Nairobi Fashion Week this year. The event, which brings together emerging and established designers from across Africa, is using the platform to draw attention to fashion's climate footprint. Organizers and participants emphasize the environmental cost of the second-hand clothing imports, which dominate much of the continent's fashion market. By contrast, the showcased collections focus on locally sourced materials, renewable fabrics, and design practices that reduce carbon emissions. The week-long event features runway shows, panel discussions, and workshops aimed at educating consumers, industry stakeholders, and young designers. The displayed collections blend traditional African aesthetics with modern sustainable technique, reinforcing the idea that high fashion need not come at the expense of the planet. It is hoped that the initiatives like these will inspire other fashion weeks and brands to adopt greener production processes, reduce waste, and invest in circular economy models, positioning Africa as a leader in sustainable global fashion. Ice floating, a cold water recreation activity, is gaining popularity in Moscow, where participants float on the icy Moscow River wearing insulated wetsuits. Organizers say the activity is safe, relaxing, and growing in public interest since being introduced to the city this winter. Cold water recreation activity is gaining popularity in Russia and has recently appeared in Moscow, where participants enter the icy waters of the Moscow River during winter months. The activity involves participants wearing insulated rescue wetsuits that allow them to float on the water's surface while maintaining the body warmth. Organizers say the equipment enables safe participation despite low water temperatures. Ice floating has been practiced for several years in northern regions of Russia, including the Murmansk region and Lake Baikal. This winter, the activity expanded to the Russian capital, where temperatures in January and February can fall to minus 20 degrees Celsius. According to organizers, the practice is promoted as a form of relaxation and stress relief. Sessions are conducted under supervision with safety measures in place. It is said the public interest has increased since the activity was introduced to Moscow this winter. Local officials have not reported any incidents related to ice floating activities in the Moscow River. Hundreds of devotees gathered at Batu Caves to celebrate Thaipusam, one of Hinduism's most important festivals. The event features rituals such as body piercings and pilgrimages up to the 272-step staircase to honor Lord Murugan. The event features rituals such as body piercings and pilgrimages up the 272-step staircase to honor Lord Murugan. A sea of color lights up Malaysia's landmark Batu Caves outside the capital as hundreds of thousands of Hindu devotees gather to celebrate Thaipusam, one of the religion's most revered festivals. The festival, which honors Lord Murugan, is marked by elaborate rituals including body piercings, ceremonial off and long pilgrimages. The festival, which honors Lord Murugan, is marked by elaborate rituals and long pilgrimages up to the 272-step staircase to the cave's temple. Participants carry kawadi, ornate structures balanced on their shoulders or hooked to the skin with skewers, and perform acts of devotion to seek blessings or give thanks for answered prayers. Officials say security and health measures are in place to manage the massive crowds, which include both local devotees and international visitors. The festival draws attention not only for its religious significance, but also for its dramatic and visually striking rituals, which are considered a testament to faith and endurance. It is said Thaipusam continues to play an important role in preserving Hindu traditions in Malaysia, while also attracting tourism and promoting understanding of the community's religious practices. The festival lasts several days, with devotees and spectators alike participating in ceremonies, music and prayer at the limestone caves and surrounding temple complex. Italy's Venice kicked off its 2026 carnival with a colorful parade along the Grand Canal, attracting large crowds of spectators. Dozens of decorated boats sailed past featuring themed costumes from pirates to science fiction as the traditional Pantagana rat marked the start of the festival.
Venice officially launched its 2026 carnival with the traditional opening parade along the Grand Canal, drawing large crowds to the city's historic waterways. The event featured the Pantagana, a large carnival rat symbol that traditionally marks the start of the festival, as it floated down the Grand Canal amid confetti. Dozens of decorated boats took part in the procession, with crews dressed in themed costumes. Participants represented a range of themes including Olympic-inspired teams, pirates, science fiction characters and traditional masked performers. Spectators gathered along the canal banks to watch the parade. The Venice Carnival is one of Italy's best-known annual festivals and typically attracts large numbers of domestic and international visitors. Organizers said they plan to maintain the festival's traditional elements while incorporating new themes and performances to engage younger audiences and international tourists.
That is Venice kicking off its 2026 carnival in a spectacular style. Well, this brings us to the end of this episode of The World This Week. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did bringing it to you. We shall see you again next week with a new episode. Also, do follow us on our website www.nepaltelevision.com, our social media handles as well as our YouTube channel. Till then, take care and bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to The Perspective on NTV World. I'm Sabika Shrestha, your host for the weekly current affairs program. Here we pick the major news of the week, unpack its significance and examine how today's decisions shape tomorrow's direction. This week's major issues centered on governance, elections, economy, youth migration and national institutions. Coverage included the EPS process and growing frustration among Nepali youths seeking employment in South Korea, election-related developments such as the Code of Conduct, campaigns do's and don'ts, election financial transactions, security concerns in Japa amid heavyweight candidacies, and cases of election code violations and actions taken against offenders. Appointment of 9 women election commissioners across 10 constituencies in Kathmandu was one of the major highlights of the week. Medical professionals increased migration abroad as a major setback to the nation's human resource pool. Thousands of Nepalis who cleared all mandatory exams to work in South Korea under the Employment Permit System EPS have taken to protests once again. This time they are demanding expedited intake as their job roster from 2023 nears expiry. With limited quotas and rising uncertainty, the issue has now reached diplomatic levels. A report. Thousands of Nepali job seekers aspiring to work in South Korea under the Employment Permit System EPS have once again taken to the streets. The reason is simple. These protesters are the batch of 2023 still awaiting selection with the likelihood of their roster expiring soon. With the 2-year validity of the EPS roster nearing expiration, frustration and uncertainty have spilled onto the streets of Kathmandu and Lalitpur. More than 1,03,000 applicants from the 2023 EPS roster are still waiting for placement despite having cleared the Korean language test, skill assessment, medical examination and police verification. In contrast, South Korea recruits only around 5,300 Nepali workers at a time under the quota system, leaving a large majority stranded and fearful of losing their opportunity altogether.
सबै पीडित साथीहरूको रोस्टर अवधि सकिएकोले गर्दा पहिलो प्राथमिकता भनेको रोस्टर थप गरियोस् पीडितको र जति पनि हामी पीडित छौं यी पीडित विद्यार्थीहरूलाई चाहिँ पहिलो प्राथमिकतामा राखेर कोरिया पठाइयोस् र हाम्रो जति पनि रोजगारदाता समक्ष फाइलहरू पुर्याउन बन्द गरिएको छ यो फाइल
Nepal remains one of the largest contributors to South Korea's migrant workforce under EPS, accounting for around 17% of total workers sent. Since the system was introduced 18 years ago, nearly 1,21,000 Nepali workers have gone to South Korea primarily under the E9 unskilled visa, working in manufacturing, agriculture, shipbuilding and related sectors. Monthly earnings typically start at around $2,000 depending on industry and overtime. Explaining the selection process, Director of the EPS Korea Section Nepal, Tikaram Dhakal, clarified that Nepal has no role in final recruitment decisions.
After passing the language examination and after passing all the steps, we send them their job application to Korea via online system. Their file is sent to South Korea. Then we cannot do, Nepali side cannot do any more for their assurance in Korea, going Korea for their employment. This depends upon Korean company side, Korean side's company.
As pressure mounted, the government of Nepal acknowledged the concerns and initiated diplomatic and administrative measures. The Ministry of Labor, Employment and Social Security formed an investigation committee last month to explore solutions including extending the roster validity and resending applicant profiles. A high-level Nepali delegation is also scheduled to visit South Korea next month to hold talks on increasing the current quota. As the deadline for the 2023 roster approaches, the EPS Korea issue has emerged as one of Nepal's most pressing migrant labor challenges, placing growing pressure on both the Nepali and South Korean governments. As Nepal gears up for the March 5 House of Representatives elections, the spotlight is firmly on the election code of conduct that governs not just rallies and ballot boxes, but screens and social feeds as well. From political parties to voters and from security agencies to the media, ethical boundaries are being closely monitored in an increasingly digital campaign landscape. Smithu Gising Tamang explains more.
As Nepal prepares for its House of Representatives March 5 elections, the focus now shifts to Code of Conduct and its adherence. The Election Commission has already enforced the Election Code of Conduct for all sides concerned. The code outlines ethical responsibilities for all stakeholders at a time when political campaigning is at its peak, physically as well as digitally. With more youths in the election fray as well as voters' roll, digital spaces are, for the first time, being scrutinized with high-tech mechanisms. At the core of the electoral process is the Election Commission itself. Officials are required to ensure impartial administration, transparency, and timely communication, including in the digital space. The dues are act impartially, ensure transparency, provide timely digital updates, handle complaints fairly, and counter misinformation. Whereas don'ts are favor any party or candidate, delay official clarification, ignore digital violations, suppress information, and act without accountability. Political parties are required to campaign responsibly, disclose expenses, and strictly observe silence period restrictions both offline and online. The dues are follow EC campaign schedules, disclose campaign spending, use verified digital platforms, promote issue-based agenda, respect green election guidelines. And the don'ts are use state resources, spread hate or misinformation, run undisclosed digital ads, campaign during silence period, exploit religion or identity, and use fake accounts. Candidates are bound by spending limits, truthfulness, and ethical conduct, especially in online campaigning. The dues are spend within allocated ceiling, present accurate credentials, campaign respectfully, use eco-friendly outreach, and comply with digital rules. Whereas the don'ts are buy votes physically or digitally, defame opponents, mislead voters online, use deepfake content, and influence voters near polling stations. Civil employment are required to maintain political neutrality at all times, including on social media. The dues are remain politically neutral, perform routine duties only, follow Election Commission directives, maintain institutional integrity, and avoid public endorsements. Whereas the don'ts are attend campaign events, use official platforms politically, influence voters, misuse public resources, and engage in online campaigning. Security agencies are tasked with ensuring a safe and neutral election environment. The dues are maintain neutrality, protect polling stations, ensure voter safety, act proportionately, and coordinate with the Election Commission. And the don'ts are support political groups, intimidate voters, interfere in voting, use excessive force, and ignore Election Commission deployment plans. Media institutions play a crucial role in shaping public opinion and must adhere to strict professional standards. The dues are provide balanced coverage, verify information, label paid political content, follow silence period rules, promote voter awareness, and be fair. The don'ts are broadcast opinion as news, air unverified content, promote any candidate, publish exit polls early, amplify hate speech. Individual journalists are expected to uphold neutrality and credibility, including on personal digital platforms. The dues are maintain professional neutrality, fact-check before posting, disclose conflicts of interest, follow ethical journalism norms, and educate audiences responsibly. And the don'ts are act as campaigners, accept gifts or benefits, share unverified political content, express partisan views on duty, and blur lines between news and opinions. Voters, too, carry ethical responsibility, especially in the digital age. The dues are verify information before sharing, vote freely and responsibly, respect differing opinions, report violations, and follow polling day rules. And the don'ts are accept inducements, spread misinformation, campaign during silence period, intimidate other voters, share false results online. As Nepal moves towards election day, the Election Commission has reiterated that ethical conduct, digital discipline, and collective responsibility are essential to safeguarding democratic integrity.
Meanwhile, the election race in Jhapa's Constituency 5 has taken on wider political significance, prompting authorities to step up security measures as the area has been classified as sensitive ahead of the vote. The constituency has drawn a lot of attention, with former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli pitted against RSP senior leader Balendra Shah. Here's a report.
The electoral contest in constituency number 5 of Nepal's Chapa district has moved beyond a race between individual candidates, reflecting a broader contest of political ideologies and influence. As a result, security considerations have gained importance, with the constituency identified by authorities as sensitive ahead of the vote. Addressing these concerns, Chief District Officer Shivaram Gilal said that 24 candidates have filed nominations and that arrangements are in place to conduct the election peacefully.
आसन्न निर्वाचनलाई स्वच्छ निष्पक्ष भयरहित वातावरणमा चाहिँ सम्पन्न गर्नु हामी सबैको दायित्व पनि हो र त्यो आचार संहिता पालना गर्न हाम्रो कर्तव्य पनि भएको हुनाले त्यो अनुसार सबै लाग्नु हुनेछ भन्ने विश्वास पनि मैले लिएको छु.
Similarly, Chapa District Election Officer Tulsi Kumar Nepal said that holding a successful election is a shared responsibility and expressed confidence that voting in the district will remain peaceful.
पक्का पनि अब आचार संहिता उल्लङ्घन भयो भने त निर्वाचन कसुर तथा सजाय ऐनले त दण्ड जरिवाना गर्छ नै, तर त्यस्तो अवस्था हाम्रो जिल्लामा आउँदैन, नआओस् र आउँदैन पनि.
To support a fair and secure electoral process, the government has established a joint election cell to coordinate among multiple agencies. More than 11,000 security personnel, including police, armed police force, and army, will be deployed across the district under a 3-tier security framework. The election is being viewed not only as the casting of ballots, but as a test of political accountability, security preparedness, and community coordination, factors that are expected to shape the overall conduct of the vote in Chapa.
9 of the 10 election constituencies in Nepal's federal capital Kathmandu will be headed by women this time. Though political parties turn indifferent towards nominating women under first-past-the-post system, the Election Commission, under the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission, has appointed 9 women returning officers in Kathmandu. This report explains more. Amid much hue and cry over meager women candidates in the March 5 House of Representatives election, the Election Commission has handed the command of federal capital to women returning officers. The political parties turned cold shoulder in implementing the spirit of the Constitution while selecting candidates under first-past-the-post system by only nominating 11.34% women as candidates. 9 of the returning officers in federal capital Kathmandu, that has the highest number of 10 election constituencies, are women. The Commission, on the recommendation of Judicial Service Commission, has appointed the judges in all 77 districts as the chief returning officers for the March 5 election, while 88 second-class gazetted officers in Judicial Service have been given the responsibility of returning officer. In Kathmandu, Deputy Attorney General Santi Neopani is overseeing constituency number 2, Krishna Bhandari, Deputy Attorney in Patan, is heading Kathmandu 4, while Under Secretary Sarda Rizal from the Ministry of Law is in charge of Kathmandu 5, and Chapala Pokhrel is leading the election in Kathmandu 6. Likewise, Savita Sharma, Kathmandu 7, Samjana Khanal, Kathmandu 8, Menuka Ghimire, Kathmandu 9, Supreme Court Deputy Registrar Amrita Kumari Sharma is leading this time in Kathmandu 10, and Shamila Bhattrai is leading Kathmandu 3. The Election Commission's decision to entrust women with the majority of election management responsibilities is being viewed as a reflection of growing institutional confidence in women's leadership.
This practice is for empowering women officers and also developing their leadership, and it indicates that the other women are also in line of taking leadership. That's why other women officers and other ladies can also be encouraged to have challenging job. Slowly and gradually, the number of women participation, the number of women leadership is increasing in the candidacy also.
The chief returning officers and returning officers have already started their role from January 9 in designated offices. The women are excited to have been entrusted the job and say these are exciting moments when the country itself has its first women prime minister.
सरकारको नेतृत्व पनि महिलाले गरिरहनु भएको छ हैन. नेपालको इतिहास रच्दै हुनुहुन्छ महिलाहरूले हैन. महिलाहरू फियर हुन्छन्, यिनीहरू फियरली काम गर्न सक्छन्, कसैप्रति बायस हुँदैनन् हैन. जसरी स्वच्छ निष्पक्ष निर्वाचन भयो भने हाम्रो देशको जनप्रतिनिधि राम्रो हुन्छ भनेर र त्यही स्वच्छताको लागि पनि महिलाहरूको नेतृत्वमा चाहिँ अहिले सायद हुनसक्छ जति हुन त हामीले अहिले निर्वाचन आयोगले न्याय सेवाको महिलाहरू जति हुनुहुन्छ त्यसमा केही पर्सेन्टेज अब हुन त पुरै सबै ठाउँमा त महिला मात्रै त हुनुहुन्न तर भ्यालीमा चाहिँ 3 जना पुरुष हुनुहुन्छ त्योदेखि बाहेक सबैजना महिला हुनुहुन्छ त्यो नाताले पनि के गरियो भनेदेखि महिलाले फेयरली काम गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ काठमाडौँ भनेको त भिडभाड अलि राम्रो नराम्रो दुवै पक्षले अगाडि भएको ठाउँ हो यसमा चाहिँ महिलाहरू सक्षम भएर निस्किन्छन् भनेर नै सायद गरिएको होला भन्ने
The move also resonates with the demands raised by the Gen Z movement, which has consistently called for inclusive participation, shared ownership, and accountability across state institutions. As the March 5 polls approach, the women-led election management in Kathmandu sends a strong message. Women are not only capable of safeguarding democracy, but are increasingly shaping it.
Nepal is facing a growing exodus of medical professionals as poor licensing exam outcomes. Low pay and limited career prospects push to seek opportunities abroad. New data from the Nepal Medical Council saw a sharp rise in foreign certification requests, with more than 2,600 doctors obtaining good standing certificates in the last fiscal year alone. Health experts warn the trend could strain Nepal's already fragile public healthcare system. Here's the report.
Brain drain has found a new form in Nepal, with medical personnel, especially doctors and nurses, flying abroad for employment. Fresh data released by Nepal Medical Council (NMC) indicates a sharp rise in the outmigration of Nepali medical professionals, particularly doctors and nurses. Experts say disappointing licensing examination results and long-standing workplace challenges continue to pose health workers. The concern follows the publication of results from the 74th NMC licensing examination, where only 39.45% of candidates passed the computer-based test for MBBS and BDS registration. Of the 943 candidates who took the examination, just 372 succeeded. The MBBS stream recorded a pass rate of 38.7%, while 42.85% of dental candidates cleared the exam.
यहाँभन्दा बढी सेवा सुविधा र यहाँभन्दा बढी सामाजिक सुरक्षा पाइसकेपछि चिकित्सक मात्रै होइन सबै चाहिँ भन्नाले त्यसैको बना खोजीमा बाहिर जान्छ त्यसै क्रममा चिकित्सकहरू पनि गइरहनु भएको छ तर त्यसमा जो भर्खर ग्रेजुएट हुनुभएको हुन्छ ग्रेजुएट भएको लगभग 5-7 वर्षमा म्याक्सिमम चाहिँ भन्नाले विदेश जाने विदेश पलायन हुने वा चाहिँ भन्नाले माइग्रेसन हुने सम्भावना चाहिँ बढी छ.
But the overall results have nonetheless intensified debate over the quality of medical education and the future prospects of young health professionals in Nepal. Alongside licensing challenges, Nepal Medical Council data on the issuance of certificates of good standing, a mandatory document for foreign employment, higher education, or professional training, clearly shows a steady increase in the migration of medical professionals. Over the past 6 fiscal years, the number of certificates issued has more than doubled, rising from 1,087 in 2020 to a record of 2,681 in 2025. Council officials estimate that more than 70% of certificate holders eventually move abroad on a long-term basis.
People who are graduated in medicine or nursing or even the health professionals, they have very little opportunity to provide services in the country. That's why to source the opportunity, this is a very usual thing to look for the further development of their own career, for the further study and get the job international also. That's why the service is required very much in Nepal. The people are not getting service. The production of the human resources are almost enough to provide the services. So the government sectors, non-government sectors and other sectors also, they have to create the post to provide services.
According to the NMC records, the United Kingdom remains the leading destination for Nepali doctors, while more than 500 certificates issued for the UK in recent years. The United States has also seen a sharp surge, peaking at 843 certificates in 2023. Health sector officials say the trend reflects deep-rooted dissatisfaction within the domestic healthcare system. Young doctors echo similar concerns, citing low pay, delayed salaries, and lack of workplace security.
हामीले रात दिन अहोरात्र खटेर हामीले बिरामीको सेवाहरू गर्छौं। अब त्यही अनुसारको हामीलाई प्रोत्साहन स्वरूप दिएको पारिश्रमिकहरूले चाहिँ हाम्रो जीविकोपार्जन नै गर्दैन। अब फीकै कुरा गर्ने हो भने एमबीबीएस मा 40 देखि 45 लाख खर्च गरेर हामी पढ्न आउँछौं। अब 5.5 वर्ष खर्च हाम्रो लाइफको खर्च गरिसकेपछि हामीलाई दिने पारिश्रमिक भनेको अब केउकै कुरा गर्ने हो भने 10 देखि 12 हजार छ। अब त्यो स्यालेरीले हाम्रो जीवनको जीविकोपार्जन नै गर्न सक्दैन। अब उमेर अनुसार आउने हाम्रो पारिवारिक जिम्मेवारी पनि हुन्छ। अब त्यस कारणले गर्दा कस्तो अवस्था आइसकेको छ भने चाहिँ हाम्रो मानसिक स्वास्थ्यमै असर पर्छ कि जस्तो पनि कुरा आइसकेको अवस्था चाहिँ त्यस्तो छ।
The continued outflow of trained doctors and nurses poses serious long-term risk to Nepal's public health system, particularly in public hospitals and rural areas. That's the perspective for this week. We will be back next week with major highlights of the week. Thank you for watching NTV World.
Kathmandu has long been known as a place where natural beauty, history, culture, and spirituality come together in remarkable harmony. Rising above the western side of the valley stands Swambhunath, one of Nepal's most revered and ancient sites. Many simply call it Swambhu. For countless generations, it has been a sanctuary of spiritual devotion, a place where the first light of morning touches the prayer flags and where monks and devotees begin their day in meditation and worship. Swambhu is cherished by Buddhists from all over the world, yet it holds equal significance for many Hindus. This shared reverence creates a rare sense of unity within its sacred grounds. The origins of Swambhunath stretch back at least 2.5 millennia. Inscriptions and centuries-old statues found throughout the site testify to its long-standing presence and its profound cultural importance. The stupa itself is one of Nepal's traditional religious landmarks, crowned by the serene eyes of the Buddha that gaze out across all 4 directions. These eyes are regarded as a message of compassion, awareness, and peace for all beings. For Buddhists, the stupa and its symbols become a guide toward understanding the teachings of the Buddha. For Hindu visitors, the temples and images of deities within the complex hold deep spiritual meaning of their own.
In 1989, Swayambhunath was formally recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, an honor that elevated Nepal's cultural identity on the global stage and helped protect this extraordinary place for future generations. The surroundings of Swayambhu offer many places of interest. Pilgrims and travelers often find themselves captivated by the calm atmosphere and the panoramic views over the Kathmandu Valley. The architecture of the complex reflects a graceful blend of Nepali and Tibetan influences. The stupa follows ancient Nepali design traditions, while the monasteries and retreat houses that surround it reflect elements of Tibetan craftsmanship. These two styles together give Swayambhunath a distinctive character found nowhere else. Preserving Swayambhu is not only a religious responsibility, it is an effort guided equally by historical and cultural commitment. The temples, statues, and inscriptions within the complex carry stories that span centuries. The main stupa, crowned by the four compassionate eyes, remains the heart of the site. Monks gather each day to meditate and study. Within these halls, elaborate paintings and sacred sculptures portray episodes from the life of the Buddha and remind visitors of the spiritual traditions that continue to flourish here. The entrance to Swayambhunath features a gate designed to convey purity and reverence. Sculptures and painted figures on the gate reveal the guiding ideals of Buddhist philosophy. Scattered around the grounds are ancient inscriptions that preserve the history of the land. Statues of various Buddhas stand alongside images of Parvati and Shiva, creating a space where cultural diversity and shared devotion coexist with harmony. Swayambhunath is one of Nepal's most visited destinations. Its landscapes, spiritual gravity, and cultural richness draw people from around the world. Each year, Millions of visitors, both local and international, climb the steps leading toward the stupa. Their presence contributes greatly to Nepal's tourism economy and to the livelihoods of those who live and work nearby. Quake of 2015 brought significant destruction to Swayambhunath. Several structures collapsed and many priceless sculptures were damaged. The impact on the site's cultural heritage was deeply felt throughout the country. Yet, the response to this tragedy revealed the strength of the community. Local residents, government agencies, cultural experts, monks, and international organizations came together to restore the complex. The rebuilding process became more than a physical reconstruction. It became a spiritual effort guided by devotion and the hope of preserving peace and compassion for future generations. Today, visitors find improved pathways, restored shrines, and safe spaces from which to explore the site. Nearby, guest houses and small hotels offer comfortable places to stay for those who wish to spend more time experiencing the surroundings. For many, Swayambhu is not only a religious landmark but a symbol of introspection and inner calm. The peaceful environment encourages reflection. The sacred presence of the stupa gives visitors a sense of quiet strength. The eyes of the Buddha seem to guide those who come seeking balance, clarity, or a moment of stillness. As the sun rises, its light glimmers on the golden pinnacle of the stupa. And as the night falls, the view of Kathmandu from this hilltop feels almost otherworldly, as though the city below is touched by a gentle glow. Swayambhunath continues to stand as a reminder of the spiritual harmony that has shaped Nepal for centuries. It invites every visitor to pause, to breathe, and to discover a deeper part of themselves.
dance, food, art and devotion are the lifeblood of Newar culture, an ancient civilization rooted in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. With lively festivals nearly every fortnight, the Newars celebrate life through a rich tapestry of traditions known as Jatra.
EC to monitor media ahead of March 5 polls, volunteers to be deployed for voter education in all wards across Nepal. At least 18 people killed in a coal mine blast in India's Meghalaya, 2 Nepalese among the deceased. Nepal's growth hindered by vision and planning gaps. Skilled youth struggle to contribute amid systemic challenges. At least 30 killed in a blast at a mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Dozens injured as rescue teams rush victims to hospitals. US and Iran hold talks in Oman to avert escalation. Discussions focus on nuclear program amid regional tensions. And ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 to begin tomorrow. Pakistan to face off the Netherlands in the tournament opener. Good evening, I am April Agising Lama and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in details. Nepal's acting Chief Election Commissioner Ram Prasad Bhandari has urged the media to publish and disseminate fair news without being biased while making news related to election to the House of Representatives. The HOR election is scheduled for March 5. Talking to media persons at Janak Education Material Center Limited, Sanotimi, he requested not to produce and disseminate news and opinion in a biased manner and one-sided. Acting Chief Election Commissioner Bhandari asked not to take side or oppose any candidate and party while disseminating opinion rather than news at a time when election environment has been created and it is approaching nearer, requesting journalists to disseminate news and content based on truth and fact. Sharing that the EC has forwarded investigation on the issues of violation of Election Code of Conduct and action against those violating it, he opined that monitoring was underway from every corner about the implementation situation of Election Code of Conduct. Bhandari underlined that the EC has been making election preparation in a speedy manner. More on this on our cover story later in the bulletin. Now, 2 Nepalese from Barapokhari rural municipality of Khotang district in eastern Nepal are among those killed in a coal mine explosion in Umsaghat East Giant Hills, Meghalaya, India on Thursday. The deceased are 27-year-old Purna Bahadur Khapangi Magar and 24-year-old Surendra Khapangi Magar. 4 others from Khotang were seriously injured while a 7th worker survived. The mine reportedly illegally operated used rat hole mining, a dangerous method involving dynamite to break narrow tunnels through which workers crouched to extract coal. The explosion occurred around 11 local time and rescue operations are ongoing with some workers still feared trapped. The accident is part of a larger blast at the mine, which has killed at least 18 people, according to police reports. The mine is located in a forested area 72 kilometers from the state capital, Shillong. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced financial aid of 200,000 rupees, which is around $2,215 for each deceased and 50,000 rupees for each injured. Bristi, an atmospheric water harvesting system, is drawing attention at the National Civil Engineering exhibition underway at the Institute of Engineering, Pulchok. The student-developed project aims to provide a year-round sustainable water supply, particularly for Nepal's dry and high-altitude regions. The 3-day exhibition held under the theme Building with Vision, Integrating Youth, Innovation and Sustainability for a Resilient Nepal showcases technology-driven solutions focused on infrastructure, energy and sustainability. Organizers say the exhibition promotes innovation and entrepreneurship thinking among engineering students. However, participants cite challenges such as limited research funding, lack of resources and weak industry exposure. We will look at this on our issue of the day later in the bulletin. Now, at least 30 people have been killed and dozens wounded after a blast at a Shia mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, according to the local officials. The blast at the mosque in the Tharlai area of the city prompted an emergency to be declared at 3 hospitals in the city, with officials giving figures for the injured ranging between 80 and more than 100. In a statement, Islamabad administration said 169 people were transferred to hospital after rescue teams reached the site of the explosion. The cause of the blast was not immediately clear. However, reports have suggested it was carried out by a suicide bomber. Now, the United States and Iran held talks in Oman on Friday, seen as a critical effort to prevent further escalation between the long-time rivals amid heightened tensions in the Middle East. The discussions mediated by Oman come after U.S. President Donald Trump warned of possible military action and amid the presence of a U.S. naval group, including an aircraft carrier, in regional waters. The talks are being led by U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, accompanied by Jared Kushner and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Iranian state media said the negotiations are indirect, with both sides meeting separately with Oman's Foreign Minister Hamad al-Busaidi. Iran has said the discussions will focus solely on its nuclear program, while the United States is seeking to also address Iran's ballistic missile program and its support for regional armed groups. The talks mark the first such engagement since the United States joined Israel's conflict with Iran in June, with strikes on nuclear facilities. Now, the 10th edition of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup opens tomorrow. The 30-day tournament will feature 55 matches across 8 venues in India and Sri Lanka. The opening match will be played in Colombo, Sri Lanka, where Pakistan faces the Netherlands at the Sinhalese Sports Club cricket ground. The final is scheduled for March 8 at the Narendra Modi Stadium in India. The T20 format, played with 20 overs per side, is known for its fast pace, power hitting and rapid momentum shifts, with matches lasting around 3 to 4 hours. Pakistan, champions in 2009, has requested that all its matches be played in Sri Lanka, citing security concerns. The move follows earlier ICC arrangements involving neutral venues. Nepal will begin its campaign on Sunday, which is February 8th, against England. Other host cities include New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata and Kandy in Sri Lanka. Now, as Nepal gears up for the House of Representatives election, the Election Commission races to finalize ballot logistics while security agencies tighten measures nationwide. From drone bans to border closures, authorities are leaving no stone unturned to ensure a smooth and secure poll. We take a look at this and more on our cover story after this break. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Welcome back. As printing of ballot papers for first past the post electoral system nears completion, Nepal's Election Commission is busy in arranging the transportation. Though the other materials, including ballot papers for proportional representation system, had completed long ago, the Commission planned to transport all logistics on a go. Pawana Kisi, along with Salocha Dahal, brings the Commission's preparations.
Printing of ballot papers for the first past the post electoral system is almost at the end, and the Election Commission is all set to start dispatching election materials to various districts in one go. The Commission has also prepared to transport election materials by trucks and containers to road-connected districts, while materials for high, hilly and mountainous districts will be airlifted by helicopters. The Commission has planned to use some materials already in stock while preparing to purchase 51 types of materials. Among them, items such as indelible ink and special security seals have been procured through the government-to-government G2G system. In addition, the Commission has authorized district election officers concerned to procure 37 types of materials, including swastika stamps, markers, and stamp pads to reduce transportation costs. The Commission has also prepared a detailed schedule to complete the transportation of ballot papers by 22nd of February.
सडक यातायात भएको का जिल्लाहरूमा ट्रक तथा कन्टेनर व्यवसायहरूसँग हामी सम्झौताको क्रममा छौं। तर त्यस्तै गरिकन उच्च हिमाली र हिमाली जिल्लाहरूमा हेलिकप्टर प्रयोग गर्ने ठाउँमा हेलिकप्टरसँग पनि हामी सम्झौताको प्रक्रियामा छौं। त्यसैले आवश्यकता अनुसार हेलिकप्टरबाट पनि हुन्छ ढुवानी र ट्रक एवं कन्टेनरबाट पनि ढुवानी हुने भएको हुनाले हामी सोही अनुसार तयारी अवस्थामा छौं।
The ballot boxes and the papers used for ballot printing are the remaining materials purchased for the 2022's general election and left unused at that time. According to the Commission, the transportation of other unused and reusable materials to districts near Kathmandu has already begun.
The Election Commission has received 34 complaints so far through the Central Code of Conduct Monitoring Committee, and 24 responses have been obtained from the concerned political parties and candidates, the Commission said. Election Commission spokesperson Narayan Prasad Bhattrai said at the district level, complaints are being addressed and necessary actions are being taken. For effective enforcement, the Central Code of Conduct Monitoring Committee, district committees, monitoring officers and respective election officers are actively working across the country. Meanwhile, the final closed list of candidates under the proportional representation system for the House of Representatives election has been published by the respective election officers. A total of 3,135 candidates from 63 political parties have been registered under 57 election symbols, including 1,772 women and 1,363 men. The government has decided to ban drones during the upcoming election. Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal at the Central Security Committee meeting directed security chiefs to ensure smart and robust arrangements. The Home Minister emphasized remaining on high alert, reviewed past decisions and prepared strategies for potential challenges. The meeting also focused on strengthening Nepal Police's advanced unit to monitor social media misuse, ensuring insurance for election personnel, arranging for voting stations without communication facilities, and monitoring the spread of fake or misleading statements violating the Election Code of Conduct. The Nepal-India border will be closed 48 hours prior to the upcoming House of Representatives election. This comes following a 16th DIG-level coordination meeting between the Armed Police Force of Nepal and the Indian Border Security Force in Biratnagar, Morang. The meeting addressed border security, information sharing, prevention of illegal entry, human trafficking, smuggling of arms, drugs and counterfeit currency. Both sides agreed on joint patrolling, monitoring refugee and migrant movements, regular checks and strict measures against criminal infiltration and narcotics. APF Deputy Inspector General Kumar Nupane highlighted the border as a symbol of friendship, while BSF DIG Saroj Kumar Thakur reaffirmed India's commitment to strengthening border cooperation. Senior officials from both forces attended the meeting. In Nepal, skilled engineers are stepping up to fill the gaps in infrastructure and drive national development. From building roads and bridges to advancing technology, their contributions are shaping the country's future today. We take a look how they see their role in nation building in our issue of the day after this break. You're watching NTV World News Hour, time for Issue of the Day. One of the most common features of developing countries is the lack of infrastructural development. Lack of vision, planning and financial transparency are one side of the issue, while the plight of capable human capital is equally critical in countries like Nepal. While one section of the skilled educated youth is either already abroad or looking for the opportunity to take off, another section is seriously honing the skills to contribute in nation building. Our colleague Diksha Awasthi brings more.
Nepal today has a growing population of young and energetic engineering students. With increasing interest in innovation, research and entrepreneurship, many young engineers are working on ideas that can solve real national problems in infrastructures, energy and technology. The economic development of a country depends on science, technology and innovation, along with effective use of resources. In the 3-day civil engineering exhibition at the Institute of Engineering Pulchok, one of the main institutions producing engineers, the theme is Building with Vision, integrating youth, innovation and sustainability for a resilient Nepal.
This program is the 16th National Civil Engineering Exhibition. Here we can see innovations all around from the Department of Civil Engineering. This is called ADA 2082. There are 5 exhibitions of this sort, and this is of the Civil Engineering Department only.
Students are showcasing different technology-driven models suited to Nepal's geography and economy. Vristi, an integrated atmospheric water harvesting system, is attracting many eyeballs at the exhibition. The young engineering team made the project to provide a year-round sustainable water supply system much needed in Nepal's high and dry areas.
we have proposed an integrated fog water and rainwater harvesting system model. The main objective of our model is to collect water around the year for the hilly region community of Nepal by using minimum amount of energy. Our system utilizes the orographic wind and cloud coming from Bay of Bengal, which settles in the funnel region of Nepali hills, which leads to the formation of fog. When fog particles strike the mesh through the concept of inertial impaction and Stokes' law, the water particles coalesce into a bigger drop, and the drops through the effect of gravity flow from the pipe into the tank. We have integrated the fog water harvesting system with the rainwater harvesting system. Economic feasibility of the integrated system is better in comparison to the economic feasibility of the standalone system.
Such exhibitions are important in promoting entrepreneurial mindset, encouraging students to think about startups and innovative technological solutions. However, these young students face challenges with limited research funding and lack of resources and industry exposure. As Nepal aspires toward sustainable and inclusive development, empowering young engineers through innovation and entrepreneurship may be one of the strongest foundations for a developed Nepal. Such exhibitions are also important in retaining the skilled human resource in the country, along with empowering them by establishing the science, technology, and innovation or STI ecosystem with industrial linkage. Diksha Awasthi, along with camera person Rasila Shrestha, reporting for NTV World.
Engineers play a vital role in shaping a nation's growth and development. From designing infrastructure to advancing technology, their work drives economic progress, improves quality of life, and strengthens national resilience. Today, we ask them how they plan to contribute to nation building in our Public Pulse segment.
Lack of efficiency and crowded cities, unplanned urbanization. These are the main problems currently Nepal is facing. So a computer engineer can use AI in traffic management, and he can also use services like digital twin to increase the efficiency of office work and governmental works. And similarly, we can also use some advanced technologies, state-of-the-art technologies like blockchain for online voting, so that not even people in Nepal can vote, but also Nepalese people in abroad can vote as well. So these are the various things that a computer engineer can do.
Youth engineers play a vital role in development of our nation. They help in intermixing the engineering principles into the real-world applications and help develop our nation. Moreover, without engineers, there will not be any infrastructure development in our country. For the development of our country, infrastructure development such as development of buildings, roads, and other drinking water infrastructures, others are very important.
Young engineers are full of innovation and new ideas. The innovative ideas of these young engineers are the ones which are needed for the revolution of a developing country like Nepal, which can help for the overall development and improve the economy and prosperity of Nepal.
भौतिक पूर्वाधारको सूची नै यो विकासको सूचीमा नाप्ने गरिन्छ हामीले। अब कुनै देशको विकास कति भएको छ भन्दाखेरि सुरुमा आउने भनेकै त्यो देशको भौतिक पूर्वाधारहरू चाहिँ कति विकसित भएका छन् त्यो त्यसबाट मापन गर्ने गरिन्छ। अनि युवा सोचमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने अब के चाहिँ नयाँ गरिन्छ त हामीले पुरानो स्टाइलबाट अलिकति मोडिफाई त हुनुपर्छ समयअनुसार। त्यही मोडिफाई हुने फेजले गर्दा नै हाम्रो विकासलाई चाहिँ अझ बडी स्केलमा ग्रोथ गर्छ।
They build up a construction, cost-effective construction. They make plans for that. So for that reason, I think engineers play a vital role.
As an electronics, communication and information engineers, how can I develop internet and mobile communications in the rural area? That can be a strong point of my education. And as an electronics engineering, I can implement sustainable energy and different automation and different hardware things so that which can help in smart agriculture and farming, and also different technological advancement in our country. And as an information engineer, I would like to increase the productivity by using automation, using AI and different types of softwares.
Now, a proposal to withdraw the Social Media Bill 2081 has been tabled in the National Assembly. During Wednesday's meeting, Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Anil Kumar Sinha, on behalf of Prime Minister and Minister for Communications and Information Technology, presented the proposal to withdraw the bill. National Assembly Chair Narayan Prasad Dahal directed the Legislation Management Committee to submit its report on the bill, which is currently under consideration by the committee. The Cabinet meeting held on Tuesday had approved the decision to withdraw the bill from the Federal Parliament. The bill was registered during the 17th session of the National Assembly and will be withdrawn after completion of parliamentary procedures, according to the Federal Parliament Secretariat. Meanwhile, the National Assembly unanimously passed the National Forensic Science Laboratory Establishment and Operation Bill 2081. Nepal government has kicked off vaccination campaign for girls. The human papillomavirus HPV vaccine is being administered nationwide to young girls. The campaign started from February 4th, marking the World Cancer Day. In Palpa, the campaign aims to benefit approximately 2,043 girls across 196 community schools and 31 private schools. Under the federal government's initiative, preparations have been finalized to reach grade 6 students across all 10 local levels of the district and out-of-school girls who are 10 years of age. To ensure the smooth execution of the drive, the district has deployed 454 vaccinators and 227 volunteers. Health posts will serve as designated vaccination centers to accommodate girls who are not currently enrolled in school. Chief of the District Coordination Committee, Palpa Thangka Khanal, emphasized that the success of this program relies on the collective initiative of all stakeholders. He stressed that schools and municipal level health branches must play a proactive role in making the campaign effective. In Kosi province, the drive aims to reach 51,000 girls, while specific districts like Udaipur and Palpa have mobilized hundreds of health workers to vaccinate thousands more across schools and local health posts. In Dhankuda, the campaign even includes a catch-up program for older students in grades 7 to 10 who missed their doses last year. Cervical cancer remains one of the leading causes of death among women in Nepal, but it is preventable. By providing this life-saving vaccine for free, the government health officials and local volunteers are working together to ensure a healthier, cancer-free future for the next generation. Nepal is to approach UNESCO to list yomari, a traditional indigenous and cultural food of the Newar community, under the intangible cultural heritage category. Discussions on advancing the listing process were held between officials of the Heritage and Tourism Committee of Kathmandu Metropolitan City and representatives of the community. Committee coordinator Ashman Sangat said the initiative aims to nationalize and internationalize the cultural significance of yomari, which is closely associated with auspicious occasions. The tradition of making yomari is not limited to cuisine, but is deeply connected with nature, agriculture, religious practices, cultural values, and social life, contributing to the integrated development of heritage. The Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage was adopted in 2003, and Nepal became its state party in 2010. Now, beyond Janakpur Dham's progress, the Musahar settlement of Basaya sees only campaign dust. In this Dalit community, elections are a hollow ritual. Candidates arrive with grand promises and vanish in clouds of exhaust, leaving behind unfinished homes and unmet needs. Our colleague Sarah Sapsanama Rai reports with district correspondent Sanjay Kumar Shah.
A little away from the busy core of Janakpur Dham sub-metropolitan city, beyond the crowded roads and concrete structures, lies Basaya, ward number 24 of the sub-metropolis in southern Nepal. But here the city's progress feels distant. In the Musahar settlement, political leaders have been frequent visitors these days. They come right to people's doorsteps, not with solutions, but with promises. Assurances are offered, hands are shaken, and then the vehicles leave. Yet, the daily struggle here remains unchanged, finding work, arranging food, and somehow surviving another day. In this Dalit settlement, even the houses built under the People's Housing Program have become symbols of neglect, structures started but never completed, standing as reminders of unfinished commitments. Every day, candidates are arriving in vehicles without asking about disease, hunger or grief. They ask for votes and then drive away. Whenever the election comes, only then do the candidates remember these problems. But the locals express their sorrow that the candidates who went away, giving assurances to solve their problems, never returned. For the Musahar community, the demands are basic: a secure livelihood and a roof to live under. Nothing more. Yet even these fundamental needs remain unmet. The candidates, too, seem to have no concrete plans for them. Housing promises in this settlement are not new. They date back to the last election, and even children from the community can recall them. But the reality remains the same. Families continue to live in unsafe huts, vulnerable to harsh weather and constant uncertainty. For the residents, the hardest truth is that their problems rarely enter the priorities of those seeking votes.
International news coming up next. For now, a recap of the headlines. EC to monitor media ahead of March 5 polls. Volunteers to be deployed for voter education in all wards across Nepal. At least 18 people killed in a coal mine blast in India's Meghalaya. 2 Nepalese among the deceased. Nepal's growth hindered by vision and planning gaps. Skilled youth struggle to contribute amid systemic challenges. At least 30 killed in blast at a mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Dozens injured as rescue teams rush victims to hospitals. US and Iran hold talks in Oman to avert escalation. Discussions focus on nuclear program amid regional tensions. And ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 to begin tomorrow. Pakistan to face off the Netherlands in the tournament opener. A Russian general was shot in an apartment building in Moscow on Friday morning and rushed to hospitals, officials said, in the latest apparent assassination attempt of a top Russian military figure. Russia's investigative committee, which probes major crimes, said an unidentified individual fired several shots at Vladimir, a general who has a senior role in Russia's general staff, before fleeing the scene. The agency also added that the victim has been hospitalized. It did not say anything about the suspected perpetrator. Several high-ranking military officials have been killed since Moscow launched its full-scale offensive on Ukraine in February 2022. Kyiv has claimed responsibility for some of the hits. A career military officer, Vladimir is the first deputy chief of the Russian General Staff, according to his online biography. Australia and Indonesia signed a security treaty on Friday, paving the way for closer cooperation and new military training facilities in Southeast Asia's largest economy. The pact will facilitate defence initiatives that include embedding a senior Indonesian officer within Australia's defence force, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said in a joint statement after the signing in Jakarta. Canberra has been seeking to bolster its military power in the Asia-Pacific region to counter China's growing influence, while Indonesia has proven more cautious about Beijing, which is the biggest trading partner. Albanese hailed the agreement as a historic moment in their nation's relationship.
Today we have signed the Treaty of Jakarta 2026. The treaty reflects the close friendship, partnership and deep trust between our two nations under our comprehensive strategic partnership. It builds on a history of defence cooperation dating back 3 decades to the Keating and Suharto governments, which was signed back in December 1995.
The treaty builds on the 2024 Defence Pact, which pledged closer cooperation in the contested Asia-Pacific region. Canada and France plan to open diplomatic consulates Friday in the capital of Greenland, showing support for NATO ally Denmark and the Arctic island in the wake of U.S. efforts to secure control of the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand was travelling to Nuuk to inaugurate the consulate that officials say also could help boost cooperation on issues like climate change and Inuit rights. France's foreign ministry said Jean-Noël Poiret also would take up his duties as Consul General, making it the first European Union country to establish a Consulate General in Greenland. According to the ministry, he will be tasked with working to deepen existing cooperation projects with Greenland in the cultural, scientific and economic fields, while also strengthening political ties with the local authorities. Canada pledged to open a consulate in Greenland in 2024 before Trump's recent talk of a takeover, and the formal inauguration was delayed from November because of bad weather. Lebanon and Syria will sign a deal next week on the handover of some 300 Syrian convicts in Lebanese jails, Deputy Prime Minister Tarek Mitri told AFP on Saturday. Beirut and Damascus have sought to reset ties since Syria's new Islamist authorities took power in late 2024. But the issue of Syrian inmates in Lebanese prisons have been a key sticking point. The deal, which the cabinet approved on Friday, will cover around 300 Syrians convicted of crimes in Lebanon and who have served 10 or more years. Syria's Justice or Foreign Minister is expected to ink the deal, which will be signed in Beirut next week. Time for business update, but after this break.
Argentina and the US said they reached an expansive trade deal on Thursday, boosting Argentine President Javier Milei as he moves to open up the South American nation's protectionist economy. The countries announced a framework for the agreement last November, saying Argentina would ease restrictions on a range of American imports, including cattle, dairy products, medicines, chemicals, machinery, medical devices, and vehicles. These concessions were significant for Argentina, where local industries, long shearing shielded by high tariffs, have voiced concerns about their ability to compete with U.S. manufacturers. In return, the U.S. would lift reciprocal tariffs on imports of certain scarce natural resources and pharmaceutical ingredients from Argentina, according to the framework. The agreement marks the latest development in the close alliance between the U.S. President Donald Trump and Javier Milei, who has reshaped Argentine foreign policy to align with the U.S. Amazon shares dove more than 11% on Thursday as the computing and retail titan reported strong sales but significantly boosted spending estimates. Amazon reported a profit of $21.2 billion on net sales of $213.4 billion in the recently ended quarter as its AWS cloud computing, retail, advertising, and chips businesses thrived. It was forecast that Amazon's capital expenditures would reach about $147 billion this year, mostly due to AI spending initiatives. The earnings release comes on the heels of Alphabet and Microsoft reporting that they are seeing cloud computing demand surge and are continuing to invest heavily in infrastructure supporting the technology. China is preparing for a record 9.5 billion cross-regional passenger trips during the 2026 Lunar New Year travel season. The Chinese New Year falls on February 17 this year, and the official holiday lasts 9 days. The annual travel surge, known as Chunyun, is often described as the world's largest human migration. It is expected to generate a record 9.5 billion inter-regional passenger trips during the 40-day period running from February 2nd to March 13 this year. Of this total, road trips remain the dominant mode of travel, accounting for approximately 80%. An estimated 540 million passenger trips will be handled by the country's railways, while the civil aviation sector will see 95 million passenger trips. Both the overall scale and daily peak traffic of rail and air travel are expected to hit new highs. French food giant Danone has enlarged its recall of infant formula to Austria, France, Germany, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Switzerland, the company and national health authorities said on Thursday. Danone and several other manufacturers have issued recalls of infant formula that could be contaminated with toxins that can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea in more than 60 countries since December. Danone said it was conducting the recall in context of updated recommendations about cerulide. The European Food Safety Authority on Monday drastically reduced the maximum allowed levels of cerulide. Danone says the consumers should return the recalled packages of infant formula to stores. The size of manufacturer lots vary, and they have not said how many packages were concerned by the recalls.
Time for sports update. For the first time, deaf footballers will get the taste of Dasrat Stadium in Kathmandu, the national stadium. 8 teams, 1 each from 6 provinces and 2 from Bagmati, will vie for the National Deaf 11A Side Football Championship title that will be organized on February 8 to 9. Sundar Dhoka Sati Sewa, an organization working in the field of empowering people with disability, has made the dream of the deaf players to compete in the national stadium come true. At a press conference today, Executive Director Bijeta Luital Adhikari said the competition is being organized with the aim of promoting disability sports. The format, as explained by the technical committee, is very similar to normal football, except for the use of different colored flags by the referee instead of regular whistle. The winner will pocket 50,000 Nepali rupees along with the Vikas Shield, while the organizers also announced numerous individual awards. Now the weather updates, first from across Nepal and then the world. Now, before we wrap up, let's look at the headlines once again. EC to monitor media ahead of March 5 polls. Volunteers to be deployed for voter education in all wards across Nepal. At least 18 people killed in a coal mine blast in India's Meghalaya. 2 Nepalese among the deceased. Nepal's growth hindered by vision and planning gaps. Skilled youth struggle to contribute amid systemic challenges. At least 30 killed in blast at a mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Dozens injured as rescue teams rush victims to hospitals. US and Iran hold talks in Oman to avert escalation. Discussions focus on nuclear program amid regional tensions. And ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 to begin tomorrow. Pakistan to face off the Netherlands in the tournament opener. That is all for the moment. Do join us through our social media and visit us at www.nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I am Ipulagi Singlama. Thank you for watching. Good night.
What is the power of music that political narratives don't?
The real music comes between the notes. It's the silence. I don't think you can change the country. It's not I think it's good to start with your own home, your own room. Can you do some changes in your own room? So I'm working in my own room.
Fixing your internet.
So you can play the same note. For example, just give you a little bit of an example, Sudan, of this. Sounds very Nepali.
Right.
And it could be on the mountain. But if I did...
That's the signature of Manoj Newana. Let's talk about the Grammy moment. What was it like?
Oh my God. Well, it was 2020. It was blessings. I've been very blessed to also to collaborate with some Westerner musicians. One of them was Deva Pramal and Mithila. They were, Mithila and Deva, they were very inspired by Eastern philosophy. Also, actually, they were very inspired by Osho's world. And through that, they got to learn a lot about the mantras and the beauty of what our music can bring to the people. And I went to Los Angeles to be there with 10,000 people in the Staple Arena. It was amazing. I wore a Nepali dress and put instead of kukri, I put my bansuri.
Wow.
It was proudly. I felt like, oh